This is 80s Revisited. I'm your producer, Jesse Sedgley. And now, your host, Trey Harris.
It takes us first to Los Angeles, seen from one of its many hills. The city is the heart of a vast area, attractive to all who visit her. This quiet plaza and old church is the center of the original Spanish city. And old Vera...
Blah, blah, blah. Nobody goes to Los Angeles to see the old Spanish city. Well, some people do, but not me.
Right.
And not any 80s-ites who watch or listen to this podcast, which is 80s Revisited. Of course, I'm your host, Trey Harris. With me, as always, my producer, my co-pilot on this journey we're about to take you on, Jesse Sedgley.
Yes, I am.
And we're back. Happy New Year, everybody. Good to be back.
Happy New Year. It's not
Merry
1940.
Merry New Year.
It's 2020. The 80s were 40 years ago.
Yeesh.
40 years ago.
Yeah. So that means, let's see, they were cool. The 80s were cool about 3 years ago, so we got to wait another about 27, 37 years before they're going to be cool again. I mean, they're always cool here, but, before they have that resurgence.
Right.
Because all the millennials are all about the 90s now.
I think they're still having it. What, Wonder Woman is coming out with that 84?
84. So,
yeah.
I mean, a few things are, but a lot of, like, the more the resurgent type, like the... like Jurassic World sequel, it was just
right.
90s prop, but technically 80s because it was Jurassic Park was at 92. No,
I think it'll still be riding it.
Oh, well,
I think they'll still be riding those.
Well, Stranger Things season 3 came out recently.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's always that because of all of us Zennials, as they call us, that are looking for that nostalgia connection as opposed to the new Power Rangers reboot.
I'd say Stranger Things definitely kicked it off.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
A Netflix series, crazy.
And Netflix original is nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars.
Yeah,
So
it's true.
More on that later. But yeah, this is our first episode of the new year. We're gonna do something a little different. Well, sort of a little different. We originally had scheduled
Very
the
different.
sealed death matches to continue, but I thought coming off a vacation, like one thing when I go to visit my family in Los Angeles, I'm always looking for movie sites to go see. Something, don't need to go to the Chinese Theater again. Don't need to go. Hollywood Boulevard again, or hike to the Hollywood sign, done all that. Mm-hmm. Want to see something that, I've technically seen in a movie, something that's there, something physical. Because if you've never been to some of these sites or any site from an iconic film, like for example, one of the sites on this, which the topic of this episode, just to get on with that, so you know what I've been talking about.
Yeah,
it's a top 10 list, but it's not in any order. It's just 10 movie sites, 80s movie sites you can visit in Los Angeles. Little asterisk by one of them, because more on that once we get to it. But first off, disclaimer, some of these are private property.
Oh.
So you can't just go up to the door or anything, respect people's lawns, stay on the concrete out in front of it. I'll kind of preface that because 80% of these I've been to, so I can give you firsthand experience in terms of, just do this, you're fine. Of course, other people on YouTube have obviously done many other things that go beyond what I'm going to say in these locations. Good for them. I'm respectful. Because if you were born in the 80s, you're respectful. You're not some sort of, I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. Never mind. Some young, because I'm going to be 40 in like 3 days. So or not 3 days, what day? 10 days, 15 days, something like that.
By the time you listen to this, maybe he's 40.
Yeah, but with all my monotonous talking. But anyway, yeah, so 10 iconic, in my opinion, or at least well-known movie sites, film sites from 80s films that you can visit right now if you're anywhere near Los Angeles, which some of our friends are, like our good listener, John Martinez, who he'll be glad because there's a Back to the Future one on here. Now, there's obviously, there's a lot of tons, millions and millions of movies are filmed there. Mm-hmm. But, there's iconic landmarks. Yeah. And that's kind of what I'm focusing on, ones that if you're there, you should see this, take your picture in front of it, et cetera, that kind of fun stuff.
Must see.
Yeah, must see things, not that were on TV.
Yeah.
On, whatever. A little rusty. I ain't podcasted in a month, so
That's true.
So I gotta... Me.
Yep. Got a lot to get back to,
Exactly. Got to start the year off right. So that's what we're trying to do. But again, something a little different. We do top 10 lists occasionally, but this isn't, again, no order. This is just, hey, here's 10 things you could go to. I even got you the addresses, so I will try to remember to post a picture of it on Instagram.
All right.
So you can then see it and have a visual thing like, let me go back and listen to when he said that address was. Also, there's this thing called Google,
Right.
You could just type in any of these names and it will tell you the address, because that's how I got the addresses in hindsight, to be able to tell them to you now to make it seem like I'm smarter than I actually am. Ain't nobody smarter than Google.
Right.
All that information is at your fingertips. So that being said,
Brought to you by Google.
I wish. Just for a millionth percent or something. But anyway, again, no order. There's just 10. I just picked 10 of them. Number 10 is Griffith Observatory. You've seen this in everything. Older movies from the 60s. I mean, it's an iconic LA landmark. It's a historic landmark. It's a scientific landmark. It's an observatory, for Christ's sake. It is on the mountain. I'm not skilled with geography for Los Angeles, say the exact mountain it's on, but I mean, in the little range that's there, kind of in the heart of Los Angeles, you have Griffith Observatory, which the 80s movie connection, that the main one is in the Terminator, where Arnold comes in and he basically beats a whole bunch of punks up and takes their clothes. Griffith Observatory, and there's a little thing from the James Dean Rebel Without a Cause was from there. But again, tons of stuff. There's a tunnel on the backside of Griffith, because Griffith Observatory is in Griffith Park. So I guess technically I should be saying Griffith Park. But specifically the observatory is where a lot of the stuff was filmed because of the views. Iconic. Good photo op for the Hollywood sign if you've never been there. I believe you can still, there's a trail that'll take you to the Hollywood sign, but you can't go to it. You kind of go above it and you can look down on it. Now, when we were there previously over the holidays, my wife, Autumn, mentioned that she thought that they kind of closed that part down because they keep finding decapitated bodies up in there, something like that. There's something, so it might be a little bit outdated in terms of that. But Griffith Park, you can tends to be crowded sometimes. So you're going up a windy road. Sometimes you have to park on the shoulder of a windy road and walk up to it. But it's an easy thing to get to. Don't go during rush hour. Go in the middle of the day, something like that, because it is in the when you're at Griffith Observatory, you're kind of right there again in the heart of LA. In a day trip in that area, you could see a ton of stuff. In fact, the Bat Cave is at Bronson Canyon, which is at the foot, kind of where you would go to turn up to go to the Hollywood Sign Trail. You can go just like another little road, and there's the Bat Cave. And what I mean by the Bat Cave, in the Adam West 1960s TV show, where the car comes out, it's just it's a cave, but they cut it in there. But you can see one end to the other. But for that shot of the Batmobile popping out, that's where they filmed that. So it's called people still call it the Bat Cave. That's pretty cool. And they like another one on this list. Isn't
it like on a walking trail?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually.
Like you can walk to it, and like the trail can go on, but that's kind of like people walk it to go see the Batcave. But it's called Bronson Canyon is the exact name of it. Because again, Griffith Park is a huge area. You got the LA Zoo. You got if you look at our Instagram, there's the Autry Museum of the West, which I posted a picture of the actual belts and guns of the Three Amigos. That's it right there.
Yeah. So
I had the hunch to go through like the end of it, but that's the Batcave.
As a video with Jack Black and Kevin Nealon going through it.
Hell yeah. Jack Black apparently retiring from acting, speaking of him.
Really?
He was saying like he's thinking of retiring or something.
Well, he's a YouTuber now, so it makes sense.
Freelance. I mean, when I was staring at it, like, is that Zach Galifianakis and who's this other guy?
Yeah.
And Ivan Reitman? I don't know. the sun in their face and it's washed out. Yeah. But yeah, Griffith Park, if you want an address, again, 2800 East Observatory Road, Los Angeles, California, 90027. It's a good family-friendly one, too. There's a lot to do there. You can picnic, you can bring a lunch. You're right off Hollywood Boulevard, so you can go to the observatory, you can go down to the Chinese Theater, all that crap. You could hit Sunset Boulevard and go see a couple of other locations on this list. So it's a good, not necessarily centralized point, but a good starting point. If you're visiting LA. And I always recommend when people say, you just go back from, I always wanted to go there. I want to go see this. Like, okay, the first time you go to LA, the first trip, go see all the touristy crap. I saw the Hollywood sign, I saw the Chinese Theater, all that kind of. I did the Hollywood Boulevard and saw the stars on the. Do all that kind of stuff because you're only going to want to do it once because it's not that fun. Yeah. But everybody wants to. You want to go see who's dressed in costume outside of the Hollywood Theater and Chinese Theater, or what's the Kodak Theater now? I think it's not even the Chinese Theater, but I mean the iconic building's still there. Yeah. See the hands in the concrete of all the famous stars, all that kind of stuff. That's a good first trip. But it doesn't really take you that long unless you really want to just kind of meander through the overly priced souvenir stores with like Oscars that say best dad or number one uncle and all that kind of stuff in every gift shop.
Order those online.
Yeah, you don't have to go there. But even if you did want to, you can just go there to look at the Chinese theater, look at the R2-D2 and C-3PO prints in the concrete, head up to the observatory, hit the Bat Cave. And then again, no order, and they are kind of jumping around. We're not a YouTuber here that goes around and does I'm going to walk the trail for you. These are all just, you can fit them in however you want to. So I put a little more forethought in it. I could have made a Google map, with stops, and maybe calculated the most optimal one. But again, this isn't something you probably could
extra.
You could probably visit all these in a day, maybe a weekend for sure. A lot of them are in close proximity, but again, this is just, it's a choose your own adventure when you go to Los Angeles.
True.
In my opinion, when we go, if we're going to a busy area, we go kind of a little bit more after rush hour, see one thing, see something else, and then we kind of get out before the traffic gets too bad.
Yeah.
That's my philosophy, because also I have family that lives 20 minutes outside of LA, so it's easy for me to let's go see this day, relax, chill, go back next day. I have time. I have that luxury because I have family there. Yeah. A lot of people do though. So just plan it on basically what you want to see. You're not going to see everything, but like this past trip, I'm like, okay, I want to see this and this. Saw one of them. More on that when I get to it, because then I'll explain it. Because I'm going to put a APB out for anybody listening that might have some insight on one of these locations. But number 9, the Bradbury Building. And that's at 304 South Broadway, LA, California, 90013. The Bradbury Building is a historic building. Tons and tons of stuff have been filmed in there. Most notably, it is the interior kind of lobby, so to speak, for Deckard's apartment in Blade Runner. It's a very it's famous for its architecture. I'm not an architecture person, but it's a very famous architect, LA architect, that did it. You've seen that in movies, right? Whether in Blade Runner or something. It's one of those things. And the lobby's open. You can't it's still like a building where people work, but you can go inside and look at it, take pictures, check it out. Very, very beautiful, gorgeous building. If I remember correctly, it's not too far from, I might be mistaken on this because, again, I didn't look it up. I'm just going from memory. I think it's not a few blocks away from the Disney, the big symphony, really iconic looking, almost looks like the Sydney Opera House. It's very, again, another art. If you're an architecture nerd, you'd be like, oh, that's an interesting building. It's in that kind of area. But yeah, most iconically, it was dripping rain, because it's one of those buildings that kind of went to shit. Got, you can't let this building do this, and had a resurgence, and and now it's a historical landmark, so it's never going to, aside until the big one hits and destroys it. I
recognize this building.
I can't name anything else other than Blade Runner that's been in.
Right,
Wikipedia,
its
Wikipedia page will tell you everything it's been in. But it's iconic. It's it's not too hard to get to, but again, you don't want to go at 7 a.m. in the morning and sit and travel, whining as people are going to work.
Yeah.
For, a weekend's a good time to go. Any of the downtown LA stuff, a lot of time the weekends, because, you have some people working, but not quite as many. And most people who work in LA or busy all during the week don't tend to go back down there, because if you're hungry, you don't have to go to downtown LA to eat. There's in the more populated areas, is all I'm saying. There's great food all over the place in terms of eateries and all that, but it's more so these iconic locations. If you want to, my philosophy is get in, get out, enjoy yourself, experience the moment, and then go do something away from all the people. Because I get a little claustrophobic in Los Angeles, because it's, you want to eat this little hole in the wall? Well, it's literally a hole in the wall. There's one tiny parking place for a Fiat that you can't fit in, so you gotta, that's just me, because I'm a country boy. So out here in capital A, not L.LA. Things are a little different. But recommend it. And then what would a Christmas trip be for me to Los Angeles without passing by Nakatomi Plaza? Of course, Die Hard.
The Fox.
Everybody should knows it. Exactly. Fox Plaza at 2121 Avenue of the Stars, Century City, California. Now, love my wife, but every time if you're in Griffith Observatory and you see downtown LA, look at all the skyscrapers. That is not where Nakatomi Plaza is. It's off to the, again, I'm not an LA native, so if you live there, you're like, oh, he's way off in his direction. I'm sorry. But it's kind of off, Century City's off from downtown LA. So, and once, don't look for it. If you're flying in, you're not going to see it in downtown. You got to look, I want to say it's kind of more northwest from downtown Los Angeles is kind of where it is. It's not an area, downtown LA is like skyscraper. The area where Fox Plaza is, there's skyscraper. It's kind of by itself, a little bit by itself. and there's here's another one, here's another one.
Right.
You know,
Spread out.
it's easy to it's in the second you see it, you know that's Nakatomi Plaza. You know, so that one is private property. I mean, it is a studio building, so it's more so like my experience with it and just passing by. From what I've heard people say is like, you know, if you get too close, security comes out and shoos you away. So for my intents and purposes, you know, all we've done is just more like just kind of pass by. Oh, cool. It's not like you can do anything in it anyway.
It's such a big visual as well.
Exactly. It's more so just seeing it. You know, seeing like, wow. And if you're, of course, we've covered Die Hard on the podcast, but the Netflix has a great series of the movies that made us.
He's always there, right?
Yeah, he's the security guard there.
Right.
He's lit.
You only
Reginald
get the joke.
Johnson is actually the security guard at.
If you're watching us on
Plaza
YouTube
now.
or Twitch, you get what we're saying. Yeah, he's always there. He's just guarding it.
You know, I think TBS doesn't play Family Matters anymore, so the residuals are drying up. So he just does photo ops at Nakatomi Plaza. Apparently, they're having an event somewhere around there.
30th anniversary or something like that.
Yeah. And awesome. Good. Anyway, the movies that made us on Netflix, they have an episode on Die Hard, and he's on there, like, just talking about it.
Yes, I watched that. Great
series. They repeat a lot of stuff that we said on those episodes, and we covered those movies, but they actually got to talk to the people that were there, so it's a little bit better than what you get on our podcast. But yeah, Nakatomi Plaza, that's a good one. Like, literally, depending on where you're staying, that's you can just drive by it. Oh, cool, sweet. Click, click. You're good. Done. Because again, you can't go in it. It's best observed from a distance.
Yeah.
That's where you're going to get your sweet.
Now, what you could do is act like you're interested in renting space inside the building.
Yeah, I need to go to the 70th floor, office 72. What are you doing? I'm doing some measurements. And just live.
Yeah, this is for my job.
Why are you taking off your shirt? Why do you have a gun taped to your back? Wait a second, you're here for Die Hard.
You're taking off your shoes. Why?
Why are you shooting the glass? What are you doing? Stop it! Why do you keep quoting the movie at me? Stop! Please! I'm just a realtor. There's a YouTube video for you.
Yeah.
Somebody takes movies too far.
Yes.
Anyway, so secondly, literally right down the road for the most part from where my parents live, the house from Poltergeist. It's at 4267 Roxbury, as in Night at Street, in Simi Valley, California. Now, Simi Valley was, and if you watch Poltergeist and just look at where they're filming, used to be, a lot of desert. That was a big location where they filmed a lot of westerns. Parts of The Three Amigos was filmed there. All sorts of stuff. Also, Simi Valley is right where Spawn Ranch was. If you watch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, know anything about Charles Manson. The Manson family's camp and all that stuff where they were like based out of was two interstate exits away from where my parents live right now. Of course, it's just a green field now with wreckage. But if you're interested in all the Manson stuff, because especially a lot of people are now, especially after Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But there's plenty of YouTube videos you can go see to teach you about that kind of stuff. But
is this the house we're showing?
Mm-hmm, that's it.
Okay.
Now, this is a person's house. Don't go up in there. There's a sidewalk. Walk along the sidewalk. Park across the street. It's a private residence. Don't go knocking on the door. Don't be rude. Walk on the sidewalk, take your selfie or two, and then move on. You can't go in the house. Most of that was a set anyway for the most part, but that's the exterior set visual from, obviously, Poltergeist. So, again, respect people's property. That's the number one thing. Like, don't be a jackass on these locations.
You'll ruin it for everyone.
Exactly, before they do something. Now, as we progress through what I'm talking about, there are some places that welcome that. I will let you know. If I say don't go on the property, don't go on the property. Right. I don't need to see a video somebody sends me from like somebody, hey, you're visiting the podcast. Being shoved into an LA police car, like, told me that I could do this. Like, whoa, no, I didn't. No, let's see. Again, no order, just going up the list. Number 6, Vasquez Rocks. If you've seen any movie made in the past 5 minutes, you've seen Vasquez Rocks because it is in a bajillion things. Most notably, for our intents and purposes, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, which itself was in referencing one of the most famous Star Trek episodes, the Gorn, where Kirk fights the Gorn, and the iconic landmark of Vasquez Rocks. It's been in Galaxy Quest, Westworld,
Star Trek, Flintstones.
I mean, almost any movie that needed a rock formation or needed a dramatic background was filmed here. And if you go to actually visit the actual rocks, like the titular Vasquez rocks, there's like in front of it is just like you're in a park with huge boulders all over the place. Very rocky, fun, a great hot place to hike, bring a picnic, spend the day even outside. In the summer, watch rattlesnakes, stay on the trail, watch where you step. But see, a lot of this, all that kind of where the rocks are is all kind of flat and leveled for all the film trucks to be, so you can have that shot that you see in every movie. That shot right there, in the background. We have all your crew and everything can be behind you, and then you film all that. That's where you film everything.
Oh wow, that's way bigger than I thought.
Oh, there's
a person for scale on the YouTube video.
Yeah, it's when you see them from a distance, they seem, but then as you actually get there and you get closer and closer. Like when Evil Bill and Evil Ted bring Good Bill and Ted up to the top. I mean, it's that in that movie it zooms out, and it's but when you're there, it's when you get up to the top. I'm not a height person. I don't like heights. I'll go up in tall buildings and peek over. I don't sit there and be like, "Whoa, I'm king of the world!" No. I'll be like, I'll look like, "Yep, we're high up here." Getting near the top, it's like, yeah, this is a lot higher than it looks. I'm going to carefully scooch down. Totally free. In fact, every place that I've mentioned is free
with law.
Yeah, law-abiding citizens. Now, actually, I take it back. Griffith, to get into the observatory, I believe that was like my first trip to LA. So that was 15 years ago.
Right.
I don't remember if I had to pay to get into the actual observatory or not, but it's a museum and
you can walk on the outside. Cool
science stuff. Yeah, you can go to the grounds. You can do all that kind of stuff. So, but if you want to go in, I can't remember for sure if it's going to cost you anything, but if you're there, it's worth it. It's a great museum, astrology museum. So if you're into space and all that, yeah, I'm just double checking. And everything with the exception of one, which I'll mention, is free. If you want to go inside, but so Vasquez Rocks again, you've seen it on so many. It's just the rocks along are iconic. Period. There's a couple of interstate routes. If you know where to look, if you look to your right or look to your left, you'll see the rocks in the distance. You can even pass them from there, because when you're at the rocks, if you look way out there, you'll see.
Yeah.
You're not too far, but of course, in terms of a movie filming, you point the camera that way, you can't see. It's
how's the sound? Can you hear the cars?
Not really. It's more so that you can see them. Now, of course, if some 18-wheeler goes, I mean, that. But in terms of road noise, it's pretty quiet. You have to really kind of just sit and just really kind of focus on the sound. You might be able to hear it, maybe, but it's not like living next to the interstate here, where it's like that constant.
Yeah.
But anyway, address for that if you want to Google it. Where am I here? 10700 Escondido Canyon Road, Agua Dulce, California, 91350.
Yep. Send them a postcard.
There you go. They're actually, it's like kind of a park. Mm-hmm. So there is you can call it, I guess, a ranger station at the beginning or whatever. So you have restrooms there, at the start. But if you do go to Vasquez Rocks and you want to spend some time, bring some water, bring some snacks, and pick up after yourself.
Yeah.
Because again, it's a great place to just hike and just enjoy the scenery, and just have fun. There's one rock that's hanging literally at a 40. I mean, it's a huge rock, the size of your van out there. Your big van, hanging at a 45-degree angle. So every time we go there, me and Autumn always see the picture of her laying under it and me holding the rock up.
Nice
touristy picture.
Yeah.
If you're friends with me on Facebook, if you're searching through enough pictures far enough back, you might find it's way back there. Jesse, I see it on my Facebook. It's way back there. But it's a great place if you want to get a break from the city. If you go see all these downtown Los Angeles stuff, you want to get something a little quieter, much more fun.
I think this is
go to it.
The place, right?
Yeah. That's the back. That's not the actual Vasquez. I mean, that's the site, but that's not the actual rocks. Right. But that's that same park where we were.
Okay.
When if we just want to have a quiet day and go hiking, this is pre-Violet when we didn't have to find somebody to watch our baby. We've been there a few times just to walk around and just enjoy the scenery and take it all in, kind of thing. Number 5, actually no, this is one that's not too far from Griffith Observatory. If you go up to Griffith, or when you come down, when you exit the observatory, you kind of come down. I want to say right by the Scientology Center, the Celebrity Center. It's kind of the back of that kind of faces the entrance to one of the entrances to Griffith Park, I guess I should say. It might not be the main entrance, but definitely the entrance to the Batcave. I remember that for sure because they were doing some event at the Scientology Center. We saw these big like sheets like blocking like paparazzi and everything, like to where people couldn't see what's going on. But you hear music playing and that kind of thing. But anyway, I'm talking about Nancy's house. Nancy who? From Nightmare on Elm Street, dummy. It's at 1428 North Genesee, if you pronounce it that way, Genesee Avenue, Los Angeles, California. Of course, the titular house from Nightmare on Elm Street. Still got the red door, still got the green roof. And actually, I want to say a couple of years ago, it went on the market for like $2 million. So, again, this is a person's house. The sidewalk runs right in front of it. If you walk down the sidewalk, stay on the sidewalk, you can get probably this shot that this person has right here, taking pictures of the house. Don't go up to the house and knock on the door unless you're selling Girl Scout cookies.
Right.
Which, hey, that's actually a great way to get on property of some of these places. Just
hold up.
When Violet gets older, I'm going to get a Girl Scout uniform and some cookies and just let's go get a picture here at the door of the Elm Street house. So you can see it from the road. It's the thing that surprised me about this place. It seems like in the movie, it's in a suburb isolated. No, it's right off Sunset Boulevard. You take like a left or a right onto this street, depending on the direction you're going. It's like 3 houses off of Sunset Boulevard. It's that close to like the Viper Room and all that, and Whiskey A Go Go and all that. It's right there in kind of the heart of a lot of the big area. And here's a fun fact. I didn't put it on this list, but right down the road on the same street, you can view Nancy's house, walk down the road. I don't have the exact addresses for these because I wanted to keep it kind of simple and just kind of give generalities to where things are, like in the neighborhood of it. Just walk down the street away from Sunset, and the climax of Halloween, the Strode house and the, not the Myers house, but the babysitting at the Strode house and the other house, the exteriors of those are on that same street. So the scene at the end where Laurie walks across the street, goes into the house of horrors, she runs out, back to the house, Michael Myers walks out past her. That whole scene was filmed actually on the same street as the facade of the Nightmare on Elm Street house. Now, Glenn's house, I believe, isn't directly across the street. I'm referring to Nightmare on Elm Street again, not Halloween, because Glenn was in Halloween. But if you're at Nancy's house and you go across the street, in the movie, it's kind of right across the street, Glenn's house. But actually, it's like a house over, catty corner. Movie magic. So that street, actually, if you're a horror buff, a classic 80s horror buff, there's pretty much several sites to see on that one street. So you can knock out a lot of stuff right there. And again, it doesn't take you any time because these are people's homes. Actually, I think they might be zooming in kind of, well, I thought they might have been zooming on another house on this video that we're looking here, just to kind of show you. But yeah, so I mean, it's in this little suburb
past that stop sign.
is in the center of, a very busy section of Los Angeles.
Now, if you had a chance to move into one of these houses, would you do it?
Absolutely. If somebody said, here's $2 million.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. But I would do the whole thing, like on the anniversary of every movie. I'd like hold events.
So you'd embrace it.
Absolutely. There's no reason not to.
You wouldn't get tired of people coming to your house, knocking on the doors.
Well, I mean, I'd try to make a freaking living out of it. Like photo ops or something. Why not? I mean, obviously, if you can afford $2 million for a house, you probably got a good job, or you probably have some money.
Yeah.
So now, of course, the cost of living's high up there. I'm sure your property taxes are pretty hefty on it each year. But I mean, if you got enough, if you have that much money to drop on a house and you save and budget yourself accordingly, you probably could save up enough money where you can just retire eventually pretty early and then make residual income just having fun. The fact that you live in Nancy's house, or next, what was it next? It's not next, but I'll skip it. Or the Myers house, which it's still standing, not where it originally was in the movie. But the house itself is still there at 1000 Mission Street, South Pasadena, California. Now, that address is not the exact address, but that's what you put into Google and you'll get close to it. Because it's kind of off the road, right by some railroad tracks. It's very awkwardly placed. In fact, the first time we were looking for it, I did a complete movie moment thing to where, imagine it's behind me. I'm like, where is it? It's supposed to be like here. There's the hardware store. Where? And then I kid you not, Autumn's like, hey babe, look. I'm like,
it's snuck up behind you.
Now, of course, obviously, as you can see in the video down here, it's been restored, it's been painted. But you can look at when you look at the building, you see the windows, you see the shape. It's the Myers house. Now, of course, in Halloween, it was dilapidated. It was actually falling apart. It was a few streets over. Originally, they moved the entire house to this location.
Whoa. 3 AC units, 4 AC units. Whoa.
Well, it's like a chiropractic office now or something.
Oh,
So
it
it's a
is.
business. Don't go all up inside it and all that. Like where they're walking here, that's all the exterior. There's even, when we were there this time, there was actually a note on the door saying,
I guess
you know,
if you have business there, you can go.
yeah, I need to get my neck cracked. You go in, the guy's got a Michael Myers mask and just like sit, like gestures.
You're like,
But
yes.
there's an actual sign on the door that says, please enjoy taking pictures. Do not come onto the porch.
Right.
Like, again, it's private property. But I mean, they have when we went there this time, there was actually a pumpkin sitting on the doorstep. Like a little nod, like, hey, this is it. You found it. Take your picture. Go ahead. Now, when they do like certain festivals and stuff, like they had the 40-year anniversary, was it last year? Recently, there was the 40th anniversary of Halloween. I've seen videos like, I want to say this business like opened up and allowed fans to like, photo op kind of things right inside. They didn't like allow hundreds of people just trample all through the building or anything, but they did, they weren't like, didn't have a guard outside like saying don't come near here or anything like that. They did something for the fans, which is awesome. Again, that's all you can really ask for when people own these houses, that more so, I guess, honestly, stumble upon the fact that it's a piece of film history in that regard. Because speaking of South Pasadena, there's a ton of stuff. All Halloween was pretty much filmed there, aside from what I was mentioning earlier on the Elm Street house, that same street, I should say. You can go right around the corner a couple blocks, and there's the hedge. If you've watched Halloween, you know what I mean when I say the hedge. It's the hedge where Michael Myers pops out when they're walking down the street, and then he goes back. Now, there's a lot of I say not controversy, but if you go online, you search it out good, make sure you verify your sources, because there's a couple of people that say like, oh, this is the hedge, but I should have wrote down the address and told you. But certain sites, you'll know the validity of it, and you can see it from the movie. It looks pretty much unchanged. Actually, on that street when we were there this time, every hedge was low except that one hedge, because it has to be big enough to have Michael Myers.
Yeah.
So it was still there. And then Laurie Strode's house, from the beginning of the movie, where she walks to school, she walks out, she's going to school, she's holding the pumpkin, she sits on the stoop, and then she goes to the Myers house to drop the key off. That particular house is right across the street from the Pasadena Public Library. But those people, they embrace it. You can't go up in their porch and everything, but on that stoop where Jamie Lee Curtis sat, they have a plastic pumpkin. They keep there all year round.
Nice.
So on the recent pictures on Facebook, you'll see pictures of me and Autumn holding the pumpkin that they leave out on that stoop where Jamie Lee Curtis sat. So that one's, again, that's free. They don't mind you sitting there and taking pictures all you want. But again, don't go up to the door. You don't need to. Nothing. Jamie Lee didn't go all up in the door or anything like that. There it is right there. That's exactly where she sat. That's the pumpkin they leave there. Free. Just park. There's to where our left in the picture, that's where we parked. It's street parking. We just pulled over, walked right over. Oh, here it is. Got the pumpkin. Took a picture.
They should have left a tip jar.
They should have. I'd put a buck in if I had a buck. I don't carry cash when I travel. I'm not stupid.
I know, but
So Pasadena first of all, it's a great day trip. There's a lot to do there that you could spend the day doing. It's a beautiful city. Me and Autumn, when we first went there and walked the Halloween locations that was our first trip together to LA. We went there, like, we both said, like, this is where we want, if we ever move to California, we want to live in Pasadena. Not going to happen because it's
right.
very expensive housing, at least, especially, again, my dream, if I would love to live in a house like that.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's falling apart, if it's cheap, if the water doesn't work. If I was living in the house I was in Halloween, I wouldn't care.
Right.
Because every month of October, I'm having a ball, baby. Putting on my coveralls, grabbing my fake knife, standing in the bushes, just taking pictures. Be a blast. Absolute blast. But again, just Google that. Just Google Laurie Strode's house, Halloween, and you'll be able to find the address for that. But the big one, if you're going, the Myers house, that's the iconic one. That's, in my opinion, that's the most important one to see if you're a Halloween fan. Because that's Michael Myers' house. It's the actual house. And when you're at that house, again, if you look across the street, I think it's a cafe now, or a Cleaners. I'm trying to remember what it was when we were just there, but that was the hardware store that he robbed in the movie, where Laurie and Annie pull in like, hey, Dad, they just get you smoking the weed. And like, yeah, somebody stole some ropes, some knives, and some masks. Damn kids. Blah, blah, blah. That's that location. And also, if you are in Pasadena, I will recommend there's a place called Burger and Pie, or Pie and Burger.
Oh, yeah. I know that from a Try Guys video.
Okay. That place is absolutely legit. We even talked about going back to Pasadena while we were there just to eat there. It was absolutely phenomenal. So there's a quick, insider tip about where to eat in Pasadena.
Yeah, Pie and Burger opened in 1963
Delicious.
in Pasadena.
Whenever we travel, we always look up best places to eat. We look at because we want to eat somewhere local. We're like, oh, the Red Lobster in Pasadena is fantastic. No, it's not. It's the same I get here. I don't believe you. We want something local, something different, and
always go local.
And that was the one that in Pasadena, at least for we wanted something brunchy, breakfasty. Mm-hmm. Any place that has pie, I'm down for because apple pie, that's my dessert.
You got an apple pie?
Oh yeah. I did the whole Twin Peaks thing, took my sip of coffee, damn good coffee, ate my pie. Nobody, of course, nobody but me and Autumn watch Twin Peaks, but she hates when I do movie or TV references, so she's just rolling her eyes. But anyway, but also in Pasadena, again, you got all the Halloween stuff, and you also have a good chunk of Back to the Future stuff, including Doc Brown's house, which is the Gamble House at 4 Westmoreland Plaza, Pasadena, California, 91103. There's me and my lovely family out in front of it. That's the souvenir I got from the gift shop.
So this is a gift shop now?
No, the house, when Marty runs to the house, that exterior shot of Doc Brown's house, that's what this is. It's a historic landmark. It's similar to the Bradbury Building. They do only docent-led tours inside of it that last about an hour.
Wow.
So again, if you get off on architecture, this is another site to see that you would love. We didn't do the tour. We have a toddler. I wasn't taking a toddler into a centuries-old house, nor did I have the time to do it that day with my dad, who was getting kind of grumpy having to drive us around everywhere. I offered to drive. He's like, no, I'll do it. I'm like, well, you're kind of grumpy, but whatever. But anyway, so when you go to the Gamble House, the inside, again, off limits unless you take the tour. But the grounds are beautiful. Violet had she just ran through the grass, and she just had fun just walking around while I'm like, wow, it's Doc Brown's house. Now next door, this is the outside. This is to the right of the entrance. To the right of where we're looking at this video is the garage where the DeLorean was.
Right.
Now that is the gift shop.
Okay.
So, but 99% of it is all, here's stuff. Here's books from the Gamble House. Here's local artists. And then this tiny little cubby in the bottom.
Back to the Future stuff.
I knew I have to have something.
Right.
Our big thing when we travel, we always get magnet. There's the garage in that shot. It faded out already, but we always get magnets. Wherever we go, we always look for a magnet. Used to be shot glasses, but that was when we were young and stupid. Because then, remember, whenever you're collecting something or getting mementos of your journeys, you gotta move. You're gonna move.
Exactly.
And you're like, you don't want to move.
Magnets are flat and easy to carry.
Well, also, you use magnets. Mm-hmm. Now, do you use shot glasses? Yeah. You don't use 50 of them. I'm gonna use my little alien shot glass today. No, I'll do the Walt Disney. We're like, no.
We were gonna do magnets as well when we travel.
In my personal, we've kind of looked at several things, but in fact, for Christmas, I got off Amazon. It's just a big magnet. I mean, a big board that's magnetic. Yeah. So what I did is now I hung it. So it's like a poster.
Yeah.
And hung it on the wall. Moved all of our trip magnets from the fridge to that. So now it's actually a conversation piece. Mm-hmm. And we get back from this trip. I bought way too many magnets at Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland. So now there's a whole bunch of Star Wars magnets on it. But so now and. Again, pins are another thing that are easy to collect because they make the shadow boxes where you can put the pins in to display them very similarly.
Yeah. We got a lot of metal in the van.
Well, exactly. That's the thing. With the metal, you just put the magnets.
Yeah, just decorate the metal, basically.
Exactly. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what I would do. But yeah, that's what we get. They didn't have any magnets that said anything about the Gamble House, so I didn't get that. But got the out-of-time license plate, so it's in my little curio cabinet right behind my Freddy glove signed by Robert Englund from Comic-Con. So
nice.
But it's an actual legit metal license plate on the back. And I didn't take it out of the plastic because I'm not using it. So, but on the back has the stickers, the year stickers to put on it. But here you can put a fake front license plate on your car, like a parody, a novelty plate, if you will. In California, you can't because you have to have your license plate on the front and the back of your vehicle. So you can't even use it in California. I'm sure other states are like that too. So it's more of a souvenir piece, obviously. Or if we ever make a set, I'll bring it over here and for the 80s Revisited set that we bought.
Yeah, there you
go. But everybody there they were very nice. Again, free to walk. Just pull in, park. There's Doc Brown's house. The DeLorean. You go in the gift shop center. The DeLorean was right here.
Yeah.
At some point in time, it was right there.
Some point in time.
Exactly. And well, the cool thing too, they embrace the fact that, well, first of all, this is a historic place with very historic architecture. But yes, Back to the Future was filmed here.
Yeah.
So when they had whatever day it was, October, I think, someday in October when Marty comes back.
15th?
I think that sounds right. That sounds right. They had on the anniversary recently, again, last year, this year, sometime, whenever the anniversary was, they had a big event there where they had a DeLorean. They had Dean Cundy, the great Dean Cundy. If you listen to any episodes recently on this podcast, you know what we're talking about, the great cinematographer. Because he did cinematography for that. He was there. They had a lot of people from the production of it. Didn't have any actors or anything, but you had a lot of the people behind the scenes that made the movie work. Without them, you couldn't make the movie. That were there, hawking their books, all that kind of stuff, but just there for the Back to the Future celebration at the Gamble House. And again, I think it was a little pricey to do the tour. Obviously, I wouldn't recommend it with kids. I didn't do it personally, but again, if we didn't have Violet, we probably would have, just so we can say we went inside. And history is always interesting. There's always something interesting to find in that. But in terms of the 80s movie aesthetic, it's the exterior. Most of the time in any movie, everybody should know this, when you see a shot of a house and they cut the inside of the house, they're probably not in that house that they just showed you a picture of.
Yeah, you're on the set.
Exactly. 9 times out of 10, exactly right.
Here's the problem with looking up dates for Back to the Future. So many people have photoshopped it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's
it was
probably
October something.
October 21st, possibly, maybe the 26th. You have to actually watch the movie, but so many people have changed it, and then some reason said today's the day that it happened, and then there's so many.
John, I hear you screaming from California here. Yeah. I just can't quite make it out.
Yeah, it looks like this one occurs the most, which is destination time was October 26th, 1985. Present time was October 21st, 2015. So this was on part 2, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So, I know it was October. I'm pretty sure it was that. The exact date. We're precise. We're not accurate. Sorry, we're accurate. We're not precise. So let's see. That was 3 and 4. Okay. Now these two. There's 2 left that I'm recommending. One I have not been to, but I'll save that for last. But number 2 is the Lost Boys Bridge. And it's the bridge of the Lost Boys where they're hanging on under it when the train's coming. And they let go into the mist and what's happening? Oh, blah, blah, blah. That's actually in Santa Clarita, California. It's right off you have to Google Iron Horse Trail in Santa Clarita. It's right across from Magic Mountain. But this bridge is really cool. First of all, it's just badass. It's an old 18th or early 19th century rail bridge that's now a walking path. But the Iron Horse Trail, when you pull in, nice parking lot. They even have a little place where you can rent bikes. You put your credit card in or whatever, and you rent a bike if you want to go biking through the trail. But it was all nicely. Part of it was paved, part of it was that tightly packed dirt, so it was very neat. We walked it for probably a quarter mile over the bridge. Took some pictures. You can see Magic Mountain in the background. But it's again much like Vasquez Rocks. In fact, if you're going the way I don't know the names of the interstates because I'm not a native Californian, but the interstate kind of splits. If you go this way, you go into Vasquez Rocks. You go this way, you go to Santa Clarita. So they're kind of they're not too far from each other. They're just kind of you're gonna pass a fork where you got to choose which one you want to go to. But the bridge, you can walk under it. It was actually it rained once. I've been to California 15 times maybe. It's rained once, except for this trip where it rained the first 3 days.
It's crazy how much YouTube videos I watch, and I actually recognize this bridge from another YouTube video where they didn't even say anything about the Lost Boys.
But that's where they film. Of course, now the close-ups where the actors are there, that's not it, but that's the exterior shot for the long shots, or the composite shot that they composited the scene in for that. But you can there's a little trail you can go around to the bottom if you want to go to the riverbed. I haven't posted pictures from the trip yet. I did post pictures of it on the Instagram. But there was a cat paw the size of my hand on the bottom, so I took some pictures and got out of there, just in case, because it was getting kind of dusky. And when my parents actually had a bed and breakfast in Big Bear, this old grizzled, he wasn't a mountain man. Well, he kind of was a mountain man because he had a cabin way off in the mountains in Big Bear.
That's the same one, right? Yeah,
looks like it. Yeah,
that's a Mark Rober video, who's a YouTube science guy. But I thought, when I saw that, I instantly thought of this. Yeah. It's an egg drop video. It's he just threw eggs off of that bridge. Didn't even say what bridge it was.
I can't tell what corner he's on, but that's where they're hanging woo, and the train's going over and all that. So that's the bridge. So, and the thing is, it again, it's a hiking trail. So most people, I mean, Lost Boys is not like exactly like a franchise that's around today. They did some direct-to-video sequels recently, but they didn't do too good, obviously. So, it's not like a movie that people necessarily, most people that have seen that movie that have walked across that bridge never even knew they were walking across that particular bridge. That was from that movie. There's no sign. You have to research this stuff or hear about it or watch YouTube videos that find these movie places. Free plug to Adam the Woo, because that's where I found out about it. Because he said he was saying himself about this one. There's a lot of people forever thought it was this bridge over here, but he had pictures from the movie matched up with the architecture exactly to the shot. So it pretty much had to be this bridge. And in fact, if you go to Google and you search, and if you look at Magic Mountain, go right across the interstate, and if you zoom in close enough, you'll see a marker that says Lost Boys Bridge. So it's on Google as Lost Boys Bridge. But akin to Vasquez Rocks, this is it's an outdoor place. You can walk on it all you want. If you're an idiot, you can climb over the edge and hang off of it if you want. Do not do that, you jackass. But it's free. You can walk it. You can walk. We didn't walk. We said that we'd probably.
How much blue they put on there, and it's not
dry.
There.
Well, when we were there, it was a trickle because it had been raining. But it is it's a riverbed. But every video I've seen, it's been dry as.
Ooh, look at that! It's actually full on the 360 shot.
I guess certain times a year.
Yep. Neat.
Wow. It does rain there.
It does. Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely free, cool to do. Again, they have bikes there you can rent. You could ride the bikes all along the trail. I'm not sure how far it goes. Like I said, we just kind of walked across what would be the river, took some pictures of the bridge, let Violet push her own stroller. Then when she got tired, we turned around and walked back. So, but a cool outdoor place, 100% free for an iconic movie location. Now, number one, when we were going to California this time, this is what I wanted to go. This was the movie location I wanted to go to more than anything for this trip. I had it all planned out. It's not too far from the Lost Boys Bridge. It's in Santa Clarita. It's on the Velazat Movie Ranch, and it's the barn from Friday the 13th Part 3, which is still there. Any fans of Friday the 13th Part 3, big fan, actual true fans, I guess I'll say. I'm not trying to be facetious or mean. But the house, Higgins Haven, burned down because some campers went in there and lit a fire in a fake fireplace and burned the whole thing down. But the barn is still there. There's still remnants of the dock where Jason gets his first kill after he dons his hockey mask. So it's an iconic location for Friday the 13th. However, when we went to Lost Boys Bridge, drove up this very dirty road to get to the way to it, and there's this big gate across the road. So apparently I couldn't get to it. So it's still kind of like my holy grail to get to see. But YouTubers have gotten to it. I've seen pictures of people getting to it. I've researched all over the internet. How do you get to this place? Because it's on the movie rant, what are some tips to get to it? And nobody says anything. Or I've seen anything that's if you like to visit this place, you need to do this or this and this. Now, we did try to go up this back road to get to it. We're talking, that kind of angles. So we went around this corner and of course, my parents, my baby, and my wife were in the car.
Right.
We're in a 4-wheel drive Subaru. I'm fine with, I'm if it was me in autumn, we'd go further, but let's just not, I got the baby and don't want to, let's not be stupid. So if you look on Google Maps, I made the icon on the barn itself that says Jason's Barn. So it should show up on there because I added that, pin, I think they call on there or whatever. But anyway, I didn't get to see it. That's the main thing I kind of went there. That was the main location I wanted to try to get to. The gates were locked. I'm not sure if you come back at different hours. Maybe they're open. You could just kind of drive through. Maybe somebody says something. Maybe they don't. I have no clue. So that's going to require further experimentation on my part. But I need your help because if you've been there, let me know how you get there in terms of access, legal access. I'm not going to pack a backpack and hike through the woods to get there. But you just got to call the ranch. There was a number. My first thought was, maybe I can call them and see if they're open, if you can actually visit it or, tour it or whatever. But we weren't going back to Santa Clarita for this trip. So something to do for me to research next time for myself. But if anybody knows how to kind of access it, drop us a line at asiavisit@gmail.com, comment on the Instagram, whatever. Also in that same area, there are other parts of Friday the 13th that were filmed. But that's the biggest one that's still standing. That I've seen videos of people that have been there. There's still holes in the wood where certain props were put from the movie and all sorts of stuff. So definitely one that I really want to see and
that looks
take a look
the
at.
Scene from Tombstone.
It could be. Because if you look up, like, the barn is further down, like, the mountain road, the forest route.
Right.
Like, away from, like, the directions take you, like, right kind of through this, like, area where it is a bigger set if you look on Google Maps. But then the road goes on, and that's where kind of, like, the barn is off the way. But it is, like, a Western movie set up in there. So it could very well, who knows what was filmed there. Plethora of things, I'm sure.
This looks like where they sat after the bride. Like right at the beginning of Tombstone.
Could be. Yeah. I mean, again, it's Los Angeles, so
seen it a lot.
Every inch has been in the film somehow.
Yeah.
But also the grocery store is just a slab now from the beginning of part 3. The convenience store that Shelley and Vera, I think, go to is still there. It's renamed something. It's all in that, should be kind of Santa Clarita area, those mountains up in there. Other site, just again, if you want to do an in-depth Friday the 13th tour, part 3, first of all, let me know how you're going to access the barn if you're successful so I can go see it. And secondly, just Google some of the other addresses because they're all just off of regular roads in terms of what they are now. You can actually go to the convenience store from part 3 and buy a bag of chips if you want to, or some condoms if you're going to go to the woods and have premarital sex by some hockey mask maniac's camp. I don't recommend that either. Usually doesn't turn out too good except for one virginal woman.
You want to be famous? I mean, that's how you do it.
But yeah, and then again, there are tons and tons. This was just 9 that I've been to. One that obviously right now is my holy grail to go to. There's also the Jarvis house from Friday the 13th Part 4, but that's like a kind of like a wedding venue kind of thing. Me and Autumn joked one time when this was before Violet came along. We joked about let's just go and say, hey, we'll go visit one day. We'll make an appointment to tour it because we want to see if we might want to have our wedding there. And we just take off our wedding rings and go secretly take pictures oh, it's the house, that kind of thing. But that's off, I want to say, in the mountains near Mulholland, somewhere up in there between Santa Monica and that kind of area. But tons to see in Los Angeles. Again, this is just kind of these are some big ones. Everybody should do these. If you're an 80s movie fan, in addition to Doc Brown's house, there's the mall where all that was filmed. I haven't been to that yet, but it's somewhere right around there. Every year on the date where he goes to the future, they usually have a get-together there where people bring their tricked-out DeLoreans that they made and just sit in the parking lot all night and let people take pictures. Plenty of YouTube videos on that. All these movies were filmed, 90% of them were filmed around there. A lot of them, or at least had some part. They might have filmed the exterior of the house in Los Angeles and then the interior is on a set in Georgia. Who knows?
Yeah.
But nevertheless, when I saw that Myers house for the first time, it was like holy shit, it's real. When you're a movie fan, you see something that was used in the movie or in person. It's I guess it's akin to seeing a celebrity. I've only actually I actually saw my first celebrity in Los Angeles this time. We're in line for Disneyland. I hear this voice. I look over and this is about 10 feet away. There's Jimmy Fallon going into Disneyland. And they had a guy, a guard or not a guard, but a Disneyland employee with a walkie-talkie, walking with him. Tall motherfucker.
The security guard.
Yeah.
Yeah, not Jimmy Fallon.
No, actually Jimmy Fallon was tall.
Oh, okay.
Now, I was not standing next. I didn't talk. I'm not that kind of person. Hey, Jimmy Fallon, you're cool. I wouldn't go out of my way to I wouldn't go out of my way to meet you. Then the security guard was really short because he was. I kid you not, because that's what I based it on. The nearest person to him was this guy, and this guy didn't look proportionately short. But Jimmy Fallon was a head above him, so that guy had to be 5'4" maybe.
Yeah.
The guy was next to him, which again, that's usually not an average height for a guy. So, but yeah, I just heard that voice. I'm that voice sounds familiar. That's the inner monologue, and I look over and I'm like, hey, there's Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah.
And nobody was going all. Everybody was very respectful. I think more people were more interested in getting in Disneyland and seeing Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah.
So, but so I saw Jimmy Fallon there, going to Disneyland. I didn't see his kid, so I don't know if he was. And he's like, "Yeah, we're going to the Teacups." That's what I heard. That sounds familiar. So Jimmy Fallon went to Disneyland to ride the Teacups. I don't know if there was a bit on his show recently where he was on the Teacups, maybe.
Who knows?
But saw Jimmy Fallon there. But anyway, like I said, I mean, there's so much to see in Los Angeles. This is just kind of a few quick things. Hey, if you love 80s horror slasher movies, go see these houses, get your picture in front of them. That's kind of a rite of passage for horror fans if you go to Los Angeles. They also have plenty of places that do the tours of O.J. Simpson, El Cielo Drive, where the Manson murders happened. All that, those kind of haunted tour kind of things. But they usually do go by some of these locations.
Yeah.
I want to say some of them does go down the street to show you the Elm Street house, and then because it's right there by the Viper Room, which is where River Phoenix died.
Yeah.
Outside. So that's part of the tour and all that. But there's tons to see. It's a great place to visit, especially if you're a movie or a true crime buff in Los Angeles. But again, these are just all of these with the exception of if you want to go inside the Gamble House are free. You don't necessarily need to go inside the Gamble House unless you want to. So it's a quick thing. You can go eat at Pie and Burger like we did. Go to the Gamble House, walk around the grounds, take some pictures, relax, check the gift shop out, swing by to all the Halloween stuff. Fun day. Head back to wherever you're staying, if you're not staying in Pasadena. Yeah. We were there the weekend. Like the Rose Bowl was on that Sunday or Monday, whatever day that it was. We were there like 3 days before the Rose Bowl. We saw them setting up the bleachers for the parade. Like in people's yards, it was massive. So, and it really the city wasn't that crowded. Like it's
on the first, right?
I think I can't remember what day it was.
New Year's Day, I think.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So I think we were there. I think like that weekend before. So they were getting kind of set up because New Year's Day was like a Wednesday or a Tuesday, I think this year. Whatever day it was.
Wednesday.
Gotcha. So I mean, it wasn't, nothing was too crowded. It was very, it was easy to get around. It's not like downtown LA. We're like, it's just. Like you see in the movies.
Yeah.
Sometimes, it's not like that every time, but again, that's what I say. My philosophy in Los Angeles is don't go anywhere early in the morning and get out before rush hour. Depending on where you're going. I mean, it's all based on that, but that's what I do. Got some good wood here to knock on. Only been stuck in Los Angeles traffic twice. And I've been there, we put some miles on that city. So not saying I know everything. I've probably just been extremely lucky.
Yeah.
But it's worked for me so far, so until it does me wrong, I'll stick with it. So that kind of does it for the meat and potatoes of this episode. For kind of like the Back to the Future segment, just want to kind of catch up with some recent movies that I've seen. Of course, last time we talked, I talked about my top 10 for the year. Mm-hmm. I don't have that list in front of me, but I do have 2 additions to that list. One, of course, Rise of Skywalker. I fucking loved it. It was a gigantic... not nostalgia, fan service.
Fan service, yeah.
It was a big fan service, dick in your mouth, but I did not mind it. First of all, let me preface this. Weed is legal in California.
Yeah.
So I don't like to smoke things, but I had an edible. and when you smoke marijuana, it tends to, your high tends to happen fairly quickly in relationship from when you smoke it. When you eat it, it's delayed. It's more like an equivalent to what I've heard an LSD trip is, how it sits on your tongue and then, like an hour later it hits. Same thing with like an edible. So we're sitting there and then it's spoilers for Rise of Skywalker. You should have seen it by now. It's made $1 billion, so most people have seen it.
Right.
But this is spoiler territory for everything we're about to talk about. It hit right when they want you to think Chewie's dead.
Right.
So everything's
So the tears came out.
Like in the theater, I'm like, what? I forgot like right when. And it was. Actually, let me take a step back and tell you.
Because that didn't fool me. It didn't.
It didn't fool me, but because of because I was just like, whoa. My brain's like, whoa.
Your brain was compromised,
and then it's just like, like at the moment, I'm like, there's no.
The buildup wasn't there, and so it's just like, I don't buy it.
See, I didn't buy it, but because of that, I was thinking like, there's no, they didn't kill Chewbacca, but inside I'm like, holy shit, did they kill Chewbacca? There's no, they better do not do this, JJ.
Nah, I knew there'd be some out.
Yeah, of course, logically yes, but
I would have loved if they did just to fool me.
No, I would have been pissed off. I was with my emotions compromised. It was little anger. I was just like I wasn't. It was shock and anger, there's no way they're doing it. Like, why would they do this? Seriously, it was that emotive. But anyway, let me tell you about this weed store I went to. It's called the Atrium.
Mm-hmm. And it's legal for recreational use there?
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, I asked them, we're like, hey, let's get some edibles because that's cool. That way we can, we chill out. We don't have to do any, we'll just hang out. I ain't got to do anything that'll pollute the air, so to speak, with my child around and all that kind of stuff,
just have some sweets.
Yeah, pretty much. Exactly. And it was just a gummy. It was about the size of a quarter. Mm-hmm. And it was, we're in Louisiana, so if you want it, it's not legal. You have to go through nefarious means to get it. So it's not like I'm sitting here every day like, when it comes to pot, I'm a lightweight.
Right.
And now, honestly, at my age now, with alcohol, I'm the same way these days because I drink.
I'm the same way.
I drink once a year at the Halloween party, in terms of inebriation. But anyway, so we go in this store, and first of all, we're in a little holding area. Mm-hmm. We're like, I need just your ID, please, and I need you to fill this out. Okay. Then we went to the next holding, out? Just like name, birthday, mailing, basically getting my mailing list information.
Right.
I mean, there were like 50 cameras in this place.
Of course.
If you've ever like the jewelry store in Pretty Woman, or any movie where like it's like Tiffany's and they're like in suits and like they got their earpieces in, like how can I help you?
Fancy.
Sir? I mean, no, this was like going into like Fort Knox or something. Like this was more secure than LAX.
Wow.
And then we go in there like, okay, and then like they're like, step over here, please. I'm like nervous.
What's the store called?
The Atrium.
The Atrium. All right.
When you look at pictures, it looks like a bank. It looks like you can browse around and look at stuff. No. You go in this next area, and then they open the door and they let you in, these burly security guards. And then your salesperson comes up to you. Now, here's the kicker. The salesperson wasn't in a suit. This dude looked like fucking Jay from Jay and Silent Bob. And he was stoned out of his mind.
Is this the place?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when all these people talking, one of the people in that group is the salesperson. You don't just get to walk around and look. Like, they're kind of like, they got their little iPad and they're like ordering it for you while you're there. And this dude's like, hey man, like, I said, what do you want? I said, well, I want something that, I don't want anything, I want something, I'm a lightweight. I want something, just kind of something nice, something easy. I don't want to trip you don't trip on weed, but nothing that's going to be too high in THC to make me like, whoa. He's like, okay, do you want an indica or sativa? I'm like, look, dude, I'm from Louisiana. I don't know the difference between. It's not legal there yet. I haven't studied it to know the difference of that.
There's the waiting room.
Back in my city, in my town, like if somebody gets you weed, you just smoke it. You don't ask which one it is. I was like, okay, we gotta look at it this way. You gotta think it's sativa, think of diva, creative, all that kind of stuff. But then an indica, you gotta think indica, in the couch, because you're gonna sink into the couch because it's make you relax. I'm like, okay, well, in hindsight, his marketing thing worked because I remember that forever now. But 10 times this dude's like, and I got to apologize, man. I wasn't supposed to work today. I literally ate a bag of these gummies last night, and I'm still just like, whoa. I'm like, okay, hey, that's cool. Like, I'm not judging you. Like, he was very apologetic. I'm like, it's cool, man. You're helping me just fine. This is just such a new experience for me. So then, like, I'm like, okay, we'll just take this one bag of this. $20 for a bag of 10 gummies. So it's pricey, but again, it's not
compared
like
to like a
bottle of vodka.
Exactly.
And again, like, when it hit in Star Wars, it was there all the way. Like, I'm feeling really good for this movie, but I'm so emotional.
So which should you go with, the creative or the couch?
The sativa, yeah.
Okay.
So,
diva.
Right? Yeah, I was the diva that night. But anyway, so that, and then when you check out, you don't get it. Like, basically, it's like, okay, I got it running for you. Go to the cashier to pay. Go to the cashier to pay. You go back out that door, and then there's it's like a bank. Where I had to sit there, wait for like 5 minutes, and finally, here's your bag of gummies. They put it in the bag, staple it shut. Here's your gummies. Like, okay, I feel like I just do I need to like kneel? Is there a procedure to walk out of the store? It was just so like.
Do I bow now? What do I do with my hands?
Yeah. It was so strict. I was just like, this is crazy. Like, It's legal. Why is it?
I guess it makes it feel fancy.
It must. Those are just one store. Now, I've heard there's a chain of stores out there called MedMen that, from what I've heard about it always seemed like it was a little more like, oh, you can go in. Oh, this one's cool. I'll take that one.
I guess they don't want to cheapen it, because if they start making it feel like
as easy as buying cigarettes or something,
right, or trashy or in any way, it could go back to the way it was. So if they make it seem like a high, something for the high class,
high class. So anyway, Rise of Skywalker, I loved it. There were some like tongue-in-cheek parts, absolutely.
Yeah.
Excuse me, but every time Lando shows up, I'm like, fuck yeah, that's my boy. And then the end part, it was like, oh, it's coming. This is Star Wars, not Game of Thrones.
Right.
So there's, they might kill that character, but they're not gonna kill this. This is the future of the story, or this is the story. The Palpatine thing was stupid. I didn't care. I had a smile on my face from the beginning to the end.
No, they knew they had to spin it around after the last one to go back to fan service mode, because it was like, because no one wanted to go the other way.
Well, it's exactly what we talked about, I think, last episode or the episode before that. Or no, I think it was last episode because it was Friday 13th where we talked about how they did something different.
Mm-hmm. And everybody
shit on it. Because everybody shit, not everybody.
Sure.
It had its lover, I rewatched the entire, everything except the prequels while we were on vacation.
Yeah.
Gearing up for it, because it's been a while since I've seen them. At least the modern trilogy, aside from the theater when they came on Blu-ray. Mm-hmm. So we're watching like, Les Jada is great, I think.
Yeah.
Except for the casino part.
Right.
That's that, your story is a straight line. That casino part is a big circle that does nothing and brings them right back to where they were. There's 100 better ways they could have wrote that. 100%. Yeah. It was too prequel trilogy for me. And I cannot believe I live in a day and age where people say the prequel trilogy is better than the new trilogy.
Yeah.
You are fucking wrong. No, we had to live through the prequel trilogy. We had to have that excitement. I waited in line for 6 hours.
Wow.
For tickets to the Phantom Menace.
That's wild.
And then, I ain't gonna lie. First time watching, that was good, wasn't it? Guys, that was good. You're hyped. You're like,
my time.
I can't believe we saw Star Wars. Darth Maul was awesome. Go see it the second time, I'm like, this. And I know, I still enjoy it. I can get it. There's enjoyment out of it. Don't get me wrong. But
there was some good stuff came out of the first one. A lot of bad stuff, but I mean, we got Duel of the Fates music.
One of the most iconic pieces of music that John Williams has done since the original score for Star Wars.
Yeah.
Darth Maul's a great villain, but they killed him off immediately.
Exactly.
That can,
Well,
it came to pass that wasn't so.
Yeah.
But, at the time, that was a recent development in Star Wars lore, for that. But, the prequels aren't bad, but do not put any of the prequels in my. Everybody, okay, again, everything that I say is my opinion.
Sure.
It's tongue in cheek when I say you're an idiot if you like the prequel trilogy. It's all in good fun. You're not actually an idiot. I respect your opinion.
Yes.
But again, this is all in facetiousness. Because nerddom is so toxic right now. Mm-hmm. You're just like, y'all are worse than women about the Oscars this year. More on that later, because that's not meant to be offensive, people. I'll talk about that in a minute.
That's a news plug.
Whoa, that's the one little bleep. They're not going to cut the part where I explain what I just said.
Right.
They're just going to put that.
Oh yeah, of course.
Whoa, Carl, this podcast, hey, we get 1 million views.
Hey, bring it on.
Yeah, I'll take it. Any publicity bad publicity is still publicity.
Yep.
Anyway, no, the prequels are not. They're okay. They are not the level. I'm sorry, I haven't rewatched the prequels, all of them in a long time. I dread watching Attack of the Clones. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, Yoda fighting is not cool.
Yeah.
To me. Oh, he's got a lightsaber. Of course he's a Jedi, but that's too much, man. Because Yoda's entire thing is, judge me by my size. You do not need this, Luke. You do not need your weapons. The Force is your ally. But here he is.
Spinning around
Of course he's a Jedi. He would have had to do that. But, to me, it was just that was fan service that it sounds cool. Mm-hmm. The first time you see it, it's kind of cool. But then when you really think about it, it's kind of done. The technology wasn't there. Prequels are so CG heavy. The new ones are too. Don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of practical stuff in the new one. BB-8, I thought that was a CG effect 90% of the time. Exactly reversed. It's a practical effect as much as a CG, and it shows. They like Jurassic Park. I've tutored it sworn many times. The sequel trilogy felt like it belonged in the Star Wars universe. Mm-hmm. The prequel trilogy is like a edible dream about imagining what happened because it's so shiny and fake and just everything looks plastic because it's a bunch of people on a blue screen.
Yep.
Not saying Ewan McGregor didn't do a kick-ass job.
Yeah.
He was one of the high
way to do it and a wrong way to do it.
Exactly.
Like Lord of the Rings did a lot of their blue screen correct.
Yes.
Because it looks real. It was such an early time where they had to adapt. But yeah, I recently watched behind the scenes of how they did Gollum and stuff like that. What a pain in the ass that must have been.
Poor Andy Serkis earned that. He earned that.
Well, they had to redraw him in basically.
Oh yeah, with
they barely had a guide. It was just him. They used him as the guide.
At least what I saw, or what I'm thinking of, was they would show him crawl. The scene I remember is him crawling for the fish.
Yeah.
And he's in the suit. He's hey, doing his job. Uh-huh. Looks ridiculous in person.
All right.
Because you're hearing Gollum, but you're seeing this dude in a skin tight suit squibble across a creek.
Yeah.
But then it showed the passes. They put in a dot for this joint, dot for this joint. And it just kept showing how they keep building it and building it and build one step at a time. Everything in Lord of the Rings looks better than anything in the prequel trilogy.
Yes.
100%. Now, George Lucas, ambitious, filming practically an entire movie. I think Phantom Menace was the first movie ever completely filmed digitally, if I remember correctly. And he did that with all the prequels. He was ahead of the time. He's a pioneer in that regard. That doesn't just because it's like I always go back to Jeff Goldblum. Just because you could doesn't mean you should. You got balance. There's a balance there. The sequel trilogy has a balance. The original trilogy, they didn't have CG. They had the balance. That's what they had to do. Original trilogy still looks fucking great.
Yeah.
And it's a big fucking model just on a blue little arm doing this. And it looks good. You need the special editions.
I think going back to practical seems to be a trend that they're doing, like with The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
There's a lot of practical stuff in there. And there's moments where, I'm looking for it and I could find it. And yeah, sure, it looks kind of silly, but it looks real too.
Yeah.
And it was probably way easier to film than trying to CG, spoiler, Baby Yoda, or what they call him.
The first episode, like, big spoiler, I think, I don't know what to expect when I hear that.
Right.
I'm like, because I didn't watch it the day it came out.
I mean, and I know it's not Baby Yoda. Yeah. In fact, the people that make the show don't call it Baby Yoda.
Yeah, they were mad. Jon Favreau was mad that people were calling it that.
I know. Because the timeline happens after Return of the Jedi.
Yoda's dead.
Yeah. It's
that's filthy casuals. Is what it is. But anyway, so like then I'm watching like, oh, it's a baby of Yoda species. Like that's a spoil like that. I wasn't. When it showed the IG, I was like, wait, is that IG-88, one of the bounty hunters from Star Wars lore? Like they ended up being the nanny bot, which is great. Spoiler, sorry.
Did you finish it?
Yeah.
Okay, me too.
Finished it while we were over in California. So. Yeah. Overrated a little bit in my personal opinion, but that's that. While we're talking about Star Wars, we'll talk about that. But anyway, sequel trilogy. Like anything, there's parts I disagree with, but as a whole, I'm happy with it. Mm-hmm. The way Rise of Skywalker ended, I'm sitting there like, it's so good. There's a couple of things that again, not gonna say there's not some goofy stuff in it, but it did its job. I'm sitting there, when that music hits a long time ago, firstly, like this is probably this is the last time I'm going to see this.
Yeah.
In terms of the original trilogy, this is the last piece of the original trilogy. This is the last part of that arc.
Right.
Because they're making new Star Wars movies that are not going to have anything to do with that.
Yeah.
That's the plan now, which is good. Expand the universe, all about that. So it's just like this is the end of what was started when I was a child. Oh, technically the first one before I was even born.
You think it's actually the end? You think they're going to stop the Rey story?
They should.
Yeah.
I think. Because that's done. Now, 10 years from now, when she's older, for example, they're talking about, we got to do Stranger Things 4 right now because the kids are older. No. 3 ended great. Let's give it some time. Let's have a story when they're old. Let's have, do the it thing. Mm-hmm. They come, after all this time, they come back together. That's what I would rather see. Because... we got to rush the film before they age out of it. Like, it's obvious when you do that. That takes away from it, in my opinion. That's, let season 3, like, Hooper's still alive. Like, probably, but I mean, do we need to know? I don't need to know. I mean, it's not like when the day that they say Stranger Things 4 is coming out, I'm watching it. Don't get me wrong. But if I never see another episode, they never make another one, I'm fine with it. His letter to Elle.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that was perfect, like, great ending. Watchmen, the TV show, the ending. Perfect. Do not make another season. Mm-hmm. Don't. I don't suppose you watched that?
Oh, yeah.
You finished it?
Mm-hmm. It's great.
Yeah. What happens?
Yeah. They did try to cliffhanger it.
I mean, no. All the information is there for you to do what it's just like the graphic novel. Like, do with it what you will. Mm-hmm. Spoilers, did she sink or did she walk? It's up to you. I think it's pretty obvious. However, I disagree with the obvious. I think story-wise it's better if she didn't walk on water.
Right.
Because all the diatribes about how godhood is not for man.
Yeah.
How you're not that. But then there's also the positive message that, maybe she would do some good with it, which is worth exploring. But after you do a piece like that follows the graphic novel, no. Like True Detective Season 1, you did good. The bar is up here. The bar's going to fluctuate, for a while. Now, can they make something better? Absolutely. There's an idea out there that would be fantastic. Mm-hmm. I don't think they have it in them to do it again. It's just...
I'm glad they came back for Season 3, though.
Sorry.
Talking about Stranger Things.
Oh, absolutely, because Season 2 was...
Yeah, exactly. They had to redeem that, and they did.
Absolutely. I have Season 1 on Blu-ray because it was like $5 at Target, and they had Season 2 for $10. Like, nah. I don't need. I'll get season 3,
right?
If it's ever cheap, like and I got it because it was like the box art is like a VHS case,
right?
So it looks badass just sitting on your shelf. It looks like an old VHS. But yeah, just I'm fine with how Watchmen ended. I'm fine with how Rise of Skywalker ended. I'm fine with how Stranger Things season 3 ended. Again, they want to revisit it in a while. That's my opinion. I'd rather let's see these kids get older. Because they're supposed to be a certain age. Let's see what happens to them. Maybe this one happens. Maybe Elle disappears, and that's then bring Hopper back like after all this time, they find out what happened or something like that. Yeah. To me, that makes it. You want that emotional part because that's where season 3 succeeded over season 2, because all about that. He had because he lost his daughter, he basically adopts it. That was there in season 2, but it hit home in season 3, to where that was like the crux of it. Of course, season 2 you had Bob and all that, and it sure did suck seeing Samwise Gamgee get eaten, and all that. But it wasn't. They were like you said, like season 3, amazing. Anyway, moving it on. Sorry, but anyway, we talk about the prequel. Sequel trilogy. My complaints are I have complaints, but again, Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah,
smiling like the Joker, like the biggest smile and just tear. Like the whole Leia thing, I thought was handled well. All the Chewbacca stuff, like when he comes back and he's like just sitting there screaming on the ground, I'm just God, like
all of his friends
like
are
everybody's dead. like just Chewbacca, like
everyone he ever knew.
And speaking of The Mandalorian, hot take. Babu Frick is way more cuter and more adorable than Baby Yoda. Every time Babu Frick popped up in Rise of Skywalker, I'm just, there he is, he's there. And as stupid as it was in the last battle where they're having that big fight and he just pops up in one of the cockpits, I'm like, yes! Babu Frick is the man, like, fuck Baby Yoda. He's cute, yeah, like, I'm over it. I'm over Baby Yoda. I want Babu Frick. I want a Babu Frick action figure. I don't want Baby Yoda. But anyway, one thing I did want to mention, one of the parts that really made me sad, I've never cared about C-3PO. Like in terms of like, I understand why he's there, but it's never like,
right.
3PO, he's going to do his thing.
He's pretty annoying.
Yeah.
That part's, yeah.
They nailed him in this movie.
Yeah.
And then the whole thing, like, what are you doing? Like, I just wanted to look at my friends.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man. But then of course R2 has a backup of, they should have let, you got to leave some things for that emotional thing. And then, oh God, when Han appears to Ben, and then he does the whole, Dad, I know. I'm like, oh my God! Like, they nail, like, again, fan service, but that's, honestly, people are going to shit on it for years to come. But I've been a Star Wars fan since the first time I saw it my entire life.
Yeah.
Was I in the theater for episode 1? No. I mean, episode 4? For Empire? No. Jedi? Yes. So, you didn't see the originals. Like, no, but if you grew up with it, you grew up with it. That don't matter if you're born in 77 or before that. But in the 80s, in our generation, that's where you could watch it whenever. That was the first time. Here's this thing called VHS. Mm-hmm. Now you can watch this whenever you want to. Not when they re-release it or they play it once a year on television.
Yeah.
You can watch it, and you can watch it 50 times. Mm-hmm. You can wear the goddamn tape out.
Yeah.
And that's why Star Wars for our generation was so big. As big as it was for the people who saw it, 3 years before the 80s.
Yeah.
That's why it impacted everything that came after it. And that's why when I watch these prequel trilogies, sequel and prequel, in hindsight, the prequels, I could do without them. If I never saw them again, I would not be sad. Mm-hmm. I'd be sad. I take it back. I'd be sad I couldn't see Hello There and all of Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan stuff. But we're getting that series possibly because he was so great. He nailed it. But the sequel trilogy being, the series grew up with us for the sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
That's why, when Han dies, it's like I just lost somebody, for us. When I saw it, like, of course, you see it's written on the wall. He's about to die, but you're still like, no, please don't die. Please, no, please, no. And then it's just like, every time I watch it, it's still like, it's like a lightsaber to the heart. Literally. And then, in episode, Last Jedi, the whole thing with Luke, at first I was like, okay, but then like watching it again, like that was like, it made, Luke had a character arc.
Right.
They stuck with it. Now, of course, Rise of Skywalker, That's the one thing that was a little too cheesy, where she throws the lightsaber into the wreckage and then the Force Ghost catches it. Again, I'm nitpicking. I could tear it apart. Sure. Believe me, I can do that with any movie I love, and you should too. If you love a movie, you should tear it apart because that just shows how much you love it. Mm-hmm. But the story, the overall story that they told, I was totally fine with. I would have rather Rey not have any connection to anything, but for like that finale and everything, made sense.
Yeah,
and also that moment where I got sidetracked as usual on the podcast when Poe's like, they're not coming, nobody's coming, we lost, and Lando's like, I told you, kid. I can't remember what he says because I've only seen it once. But then here's what pisses me off. That score that plays at that moment when the entire Rebel fleet comes in, it's a variation of the theme. It's a pace a little different. It's got a little bit different timing. It's not on the soundtrack.
Oh.
It's not on the expanded version of the soundtrack. And that like musical part, it was like, I was like that, like retooling the score for that the climactic scene in the new trilogy. I was like, that's beautiful. I want to listen to this on repeat every day. Can't. It's not on either of the fucking soundtracks.
That's odd.
Because I cannot remember what Lando says to him. Again, I've only seen it once, and I was super high by the end of the movie, which is unusual for me.
Yeah.
So he's like, I told you. And he says something, but what he told him is the name of that track. It's like, oh, it's gotta be this one. When I downloaded the soundtrack. So hit play, like, okay, it's building up, and it ends. I'm like, why? What? That is like, I would have bought the soundtrack. I would pay $20 for that one track, and it's not on the soundtrack.
That's odd. Why not?
I have no clue. And then I saw, there's an expanded. It must be on. They're getting the money from us. It's got to be on the expanded one. Wink, wink. They're getting the money from us.
Right.
Not from me. But anyway, so the expanded soundtrack. Listen to it's not on there either. Pissed me off. So that's enough Star Wars talk for this podcast. So moving on, just last night, I watched a movie that I was really looking forward to that came out last year, a sequel to a beloved 80s franchise, which you could visit some of the scenes where it was shot at, like I talked about, at Griffith Park. I'm talking about Terminator Dark Fate. Just when you thought you could go back to the theater to watch a Terminator movie, you're wrong. This movie was terrible. Ooh. It was not as bad as Genesis. Genesis is still the absolute worst of that franchise. But you have Cameron, you got Hamilton, you got Schwarzenegger, you got some other fine actors playing the new Terminators. Got everything going for it. Movie's stupid as fuck. Like seriously, Cameron. It was not so much hyped up, but just like there was so much going for it. Sarah Connor, they say I'll be back 20 times in the damn movie.
Oh my god.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Let me be real. One of the first things Sarah Connor says is, stay here. I'll be back. My tongue is her tongue was so much in her cheek it went it poked through a hole out. And then at the end, Schwarzenegger's like, I will not be back. I told them I won't be back.
Oh my god.
First of all, I don't know why I'll be back is the iconic line of this franchise anyway, because it's an off line in the first movie. It's not meant to be an iconic. It's not even meant to be it's just he's like, can I help you, sir? I'll be back. And then he's literally saying he's going to be back because he crashes the car into the police station. It was actually only 2 or 3 times. It wasn't 20. Okay. But what I'm getting at by saying that is once was too many.
Right.
This is not, Terminator 1 and 2. Terminator 2 is one of the, if not arguably inarguably the greatest sequel ever made. If not, Terminator 2 is one of the greatest films ever made. The humor in it.
This is a joke, by the way, this website. Just realized, because they're saying exactly what you said. I found a website on here that says the script. And I think it's a rewriting version of the script because right after that it says absolutely fucking nobody said that was so cool. After she says I'll be back, I was like, who is absolutely fucking nobody? Oh, that's us.
That's a joke.
So this person rewrites an entire script just to make fun of it. That's funny.
No, he or she summed up every Terminator's fans' feelings, because again, this Dark Fate, much like Halloween 2018, says Terminator 3, Salvation, Sarah Connor Chronicles, Genesis never happened.
Okay.
I like 3 and Salvation, so I'll golf clap for those two, but I'll applaud for saying Genesis never happened.
Yeah.
So this is a direct sequel to one of the greatest sequels, one of the greatest films, one of the greatest action movies, period, ever made. Mm-hmm. With the 3 main people you need for it. Yeah. Cameron, Schwarzenegger, and Hamilton. Absolute shit. I don't know who the Cameron produced it. He didn't write it. Story by,
8 credits for writing. 5 people had to come up with that story.
Story. Okay. The general story, again, we're in Force Awakens territory here for the most part.
Okay.
But everybody that wrote the screenplay should be, they should not work in this town. And David Goyer's wrote a ton of shit. I don't recognize his name.
Billy Ray's the only one that didn't have a story credit. That's got the screenplay by.
But it's and also, if you saw a trailer for this film, don't even watch the movie, because they really try to build up the fact that Schwarzenegger's in it. Mm-hmm. And he's in it from the poster, from every bit of advertising. You're just waiting. So you've been getting these texts, Sarah. Let's find out who's been sending them. And I'm just like, it's Arnold. There's no there is nothing to think about here. And then there's a young girl in it who's meant to be kind of the lead, like the new Sarah Connor, basically.
Right.
Beautiful girl, not her. She's like the kind of the female semi-Terminator. This girl. Very beautiful.
Talia Reyes.
She's not a bad actress, but it's similar to my complaint with Emilia Clarke in Genesis, in that Linda Hamilton. And again, this is not anything about me being a white male talking about women. It's about the character. She's very tiny, especially when she's standing next to Arnold. I mean, she looks like a child. And that's not a diss, but there's this scene where it jumps to the future, same actress, whipping the ass of 4 or 5 people, and she's and inspiring them with her speech. It's a failure of writing and everything else for that part. It doesn't work. When they show John Connor in the future, it's not Edward Furlong sitting there with his doofus haircut and easy money. No, he's got a big ass fucking scar across his face. And he's, in military fatigues, and he looks like he's got a 10,000 yard stare, and he looks like he's been through hell and back. This person is leading this is what this poor little kid becomes because of this future.
Yeah.
You're there for everything. Every beat you're buying because it makes sense. When the Terminator in Terminator 2 makes a stupid joke no, I order you not to do this, or somebody comes up to you with attitude, you say hasta la vista, baby. So in the end, and when he's like hasta la vista, baby, it's there for a reason, but also they did set it. It's the tongue is in the cheek, but it's not. The tongue's in the mouth next to the cheek, but it's there. It's not overdone. Dark Fate is people love this whole Force Awakens philosophy of throwing nostalgia at the screen.
Right.
With now I believe Force Awakens, there was a story there. I don't think that applies to it. They relied on nostalgia for some things, absolutely, but I enjoyed that movie. Dark Fate is literally when people say, "Oh, they Force Awakens it." This is literally throwing things at the screen to make you be like, "Oh, that's from this one, that's from this one, that's from this one."
The fan service.
Exactly. But not good fan service. Right. Dark Fate is shit. I hated it. I'm watching it it's still going. And it's one of those movies this is going to happen. Oh, there it is. Oh, I remember when this happened in Terminator 3. Oh, look, it just happened again. No, they're Arnold's still great. Linda Hamilton was great, except for the fact that Sarah Connor is cracking jokes. It starts off with her insane asylum video where she's like, you're all fucking dead. Fantastic acting from Terminator 2, where she's in the insane asylum, saying you don't understand, freaking out. And in this one, one of her first lines is, "Stay here, I'll be back." And she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna do this." She's making jokes. Also, spoiler alert for this movie. Actually, I don't care that this is spoiled because it's in the first 5 minutes, and it's immediately stupid. Because one of the worst things you can do with a sequel, especially a sequel to anything that is highly regarded, such as Terminator 2, aka one of the greatest movies ever made, is completely immediately deface what happened in that movie.
Right.
Everything they went through in that movie, in the opening of Dark Fate, de-aged Sarah Connor. Actually doesn't look too bad with the de-aging stuff, sitting there. There's little de-aged Edward Furlong. All of a sudden, Terminator comes up and kills John Connor in the first 5 minutes. Now, this is, from the way they look, it looks like this happened 5 minutes after the end of Terminator 2. After they leave the steel mill, they hit the road, they go to this bar, and this happens, like, right then. So, like, was I shocked? Yes. I was shocked because that is fucking stupid.
Right.
That is something that happens later on in the movie because you think John is the key. When the Terminator, like when this girl comes back to protect this other girl, she could have been like, "Oh, you're here to protect John." Like, no, I'm here to protect this person. Like, and then, oh, why are they protecting this person? It must be a key to John. And then John dies at that point. So then it's like, okay, so because the general plot is that when at the end of Terminator 2, they did change Skynet from taking over, which is dumb because the future, the fate still happens. And they just don't call it Skynet. Now it's called something else, and it's taking over. It's doing the exact same fucking thing. It's just called something different. and it just so happens to make things that look exactly like what the Terminators would have looked like. It's stupid. And then Arnold's still there, just like in Genesis. Like, he doesn't age. His flesh ages, but his exoskeleton doesn't. And I was right the first time, endoskeleton. So he's like, when I killed John, it created a coronal effect to where that future is gone, but a new future was created. And so now the Terminators from this new future are interacting with the characters from the other timeline, because Terminator has a confusing ass timeline to begin with. It's fucked up. They try to make sense of it. There is with that many writers, nobody thought, hey guys, this is dumb. Nobody, granted, you're with James Cameron, this makes me scared to death of the Avatar sequels. I'll be absolutely honest that James Cameron let this come out with his name on it.
Right.
Because, look, there we go. The only Dark Fate is the future of this franchise. First review on IMDb, 1 star. If you love the series, watch it just so you can see it and say you saw it, but you will never watch it again. Oh, and from the director of Deadpool, I believe. So you got a guy that can do some action. Action scenes are all right. A lot of CG. I'll give them this. They go. After Terminator 2, they had to you have to up the Terminators.
Wow.
Yet the T800 is always the best model. It's like, oh, my iPhone 1 still outperforms my iPhone X. No, it fucking doesn't. Technology doesn't work in reverse. Anyway, so, Terminator 3, you have the liquid metal on the outside, but it has the skeleton underneath. But in this one, the Terminator, it has the endoskeleton, but it can actually separate the liquid metal part of it to so there's 2 of them.
Oh.
Which is a cool idea. Great way to, and it happened. They should have, saved that for a big reveal, oh, we got him. It's like the endoskeleton's, burning, but then, it's independent for, shit. Now they got to deal with that. There's no subtext. There's nothing subtle in this film. It's just boom, bang, boom, boom, boom. The action is so ridiculous. Ridiculous action is great in a movie like Shoot 'Em Up with Clive Owen, where it's meant from the get-go, that this is going to be a ludicrous action movie.
Yeah.
It's basically like Deadpool. It's going to be crazy. You know what you expect. This is a Terminator movie.
Yeah.
It's all about, Trey, it's Terminators from the future fighting people. It's not realistic. But that's the key to, go watch 1 and 2. They keep it realistic. They
set the bar.
Yeah. The T-1000 rides his motorcycle out of a building and then jumps off the motorcycle to land on a helicopter. Now, of course, a human can do that, but he can't. The motorcycle doesn't land inside the helicopter like the Fast and the Furious. He parks it inside the helicopter, get out, bro, or it just feels like, okay, this is what would happen. Obviously, he can't land a motorcycle on it, so he jumps off, grabs it. He's liquid metal. He shoves his head through the crack, through the windshield, oozes into the seat. It works. It makes sense. Nothing in Genesis makes sense. Nothing in this movie makes sense. It's just they're just trying to throw all this crap at the screen, hoping something sticks, and nothing does. It's disrespectful to the franchise, disrespectful to Cameron, even though he wrote it and produced it, all that stuff. He should know better. I think you're getting a little too big for your britches, James. You're more famous than I'll ever be. But hey, look, sometimes people got to call you out on your bullshit. Please don't let Avatar sequel suck. Avatar 1, great movie. Do I think it deserves 4 sequels? No. Maybe 1. whatever. Anyway, so if you're a Terminator fan, watch it. But it's not good. I'm telling you now, it sucks. The Addams Family animated, we watched that. That's pretty much, that felt like an hour and a half kids cartoon. Like it felt like a 30-minute kids cartoon that was stretched to an hour and a half.
Okay.
The visual style was great. Wasn't very funny. Too long. They should have made it a TV show. Like that should have been like an episode of a TV show. It shouldn't have been an hour and whatever. Great voice cast. Everybody did great on the cast. Animation was good. Just was not funny. Ford versus Ferrari. I wouldn't give it a Best Picture nomination, but it was good. Great performances. Very interesting story. And then lastly, like I said, there were 2 movies that I would say I would add to my top 10 list of last year. One, obviously, Rise of Skywalker. I can't say where it would be because I don't have that list in front of me, what I would take off. But secondly, and most importantly, I saw The Lighthouse with Dafoe and Pattinson. Now, I don't mean that. Now, a lot of people, the first thing people are going to think, oh, it's in black and white, it's in 4:3. What a pretentious asshole this person is who made this movie. You know, this movie is not meant to be flashy. It relies on its visuals and its acting, and it has them both in spades. I am excited to see Pattinson as Batman after this movie. He did. I don't honestly, aside from, I don't think I've ever seen a movie that he's been in, except for like from start to finish. Except this is probably the first movie I've ever seen him in that I can think of offhand. Him and Dafoe were robbed from. You know, we talk about people getting snubbed for Oscar nominations. Thank God this got a nomination for cinematography. Although Midsommar should have gotten one for that too. Let's be honest. But horror movies never do too well at the awards. But both Dafoe, Pattinson, cinematography, the directing. This is the guy that did The Witch or The Witch. That's a film I've tried to watch it twice. I've never made it through. I've just kind of gotten bored with it. I've always heard it's very good. It's just personally I never kind of watched it, felt out of interest, never went back to it. Tried it once again. Same thing. So that's after watching this though, I'm excited to go back and stick through The Witch to the end because I've heard it's one of those. It's a polarizing film, much like this one is. I minored in philosophy in college, so this is a very there's a lot of subtext, like interpretative stuff in this film. It's Lynchian. It doesn't go full Lynch, but it's there. And I mean, just the visuals in this film. It's a gorgeous, beautiful film that is super fucked up. Because I'm watching I wish I would have an edible for this film, to be honest with you. Because I'm just watching okay, is he saying this or there's like 20 different things that they're saying right now. I don't know what if you watch and you said I thought this was what the movie was about. I cannot disagree with you. Because you think it's kind of going this way and it's not. You think it's about this. You think it's everything from loneliness to sexuality to this to just murder to Lovecraftian horror. I don't even know what it's about. I have what I think it's about and like what certain things represent. This I rarely do this, but I actually went to YouTube and like interpretations for the ending of The Lighthouse because I think I don't know if it's like my interpretation is this or this. I don't know. And I'm watching these interpretations, none of them are helpful. It's none of the things I saw gave me any help to help me kind of maybe put together some things I missed as to what something could be. But nevertheless, much like Midsommar, this is not a film for everybody. I know a lot of Autumn generally likes these kind of movies. She loved Midsommar. She watched the whole 2.5 hours of it without looking at her phone, just like I did. This one, she was like, "Yeah, I'm going to bed so you can watch your buddy Lighthouse movie." Just go. I'll pause it. Go. I can't miss anything here. This is fantastic. It's amazing. But honestly, even if you don't like the movie, Dafoe and Pattinson's performances are out of this world, just fantastic. And I cannot praise enough the cinematography. It's 4:3 the entire time in black and white, and everything looks amazing. Every single shot you're looking at now, these could all be in a museum for somebody's photography. People say that, you hear that all the time. Oh, every frame's beautiful. This would be the first film I could say yes. This could be, if you were looking at a photo book, almost every picture could be oh, this is a miner from 1984 or 1884 and or whatever. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful film. and it's got everything to match up to that. That's why. Now on to the Oscar stuff. Now, anybody can discount what I say because I'm a white male. I'm sorry that I'm a white male. I'm just talking about my perspective. I know I respect everybody equally. I love mermaid vaginas like we're just watching on the screen if you're watching the White House.
There you go. Mermaid vaginas on IMDb. Photo 94 of 204.
Diversity is important for sure. But Stephen King got into a lot of, he got, not what do they call it, on blast or whatever the young kids say. Because he sent a tweet, I don't remember it verbatim, but basically he said, diversity doesn't equal quality. I got that wrong. I forget what he says. But the gist of what he said was the quality of something is not based on something superficial.
Who sent that?
Stephen King.
Okay.
Because everybody of every race, color, and creed there are people that make good movies, gender, everything. There's people that make bad movies in all of them. Well, let's see. As a writer, blah, 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 what did he say? I would never consider diversity in matters of art, only quality. So he got in trouble. Like, people were putting him on blast, you're not considering diversity. That's not what he's saying.
Yeah.
He's saying that, when you're judging art, that you don't judge it based on its diversity. You judge it on its quality. So the gist of what, again, I'm interpreting what he says. Everybody these days has their interpretation. I agree with the gist of what I believe he's saying in that when you look at something, when I look at a painting, and if I go to an art museum, I have no clue who painted it, unless it's the Mona Lisa. I mean, if I go to a local art exhibit and I'm looking at art, me and Autumn did that a lot because we wanted original art in our home, had no clue who painted it.
Right.
I like this, I don't like that, I like this, I like this. Let's inquire about the price of this one. Oh, okay, I don't care. I mean, I care who painted it, in this example, but that person didn't matter. Only the quality of what they created mattered. Mm-hmm. And from what I see that Stephen King's saying, that's what I took from that he's saying, that doesn't determine the quality of something, necessarily the quality of something. And I think, again, go to an art museum where they don't have pictures of the artist and pick the ones you like, and then nominate your 5 best ones and see how much diversity you have based on your opinion on something. That you can't, for example, unless you ask somebody on the street to name 3 directors. Steven Spielberg, the guy that does all the gangster movies, Scrabble, Scorsese,
Scrabble.
If Joe Blow moviegoer doesn't know that shit. A lot of movies these days don't even put the cat, which I like. I like when a movie doesn't even have titles in the front. I like when it just goes into the movie, put the titles at the end. I've always loved that stylistic choice. So anyway, what I'm getting at is that, with this year, all I see everybody complaining that there was not, there were no females nominated in the best director category, and then Greta Gerwig was nominated Little Women was nominated for best picture, but she was not nominated for best director. Well, they nominate 9 or 10 pictures for best picture, and only 5 people for best director. So there's some of those people don't make it. But now, of course, when we talk about people who are voting, let's be real here. The Academy is who votes. Mm-hmm. I tried to find to educate myself, what is the breakup, the demographic of the members of the Academy, and of course, I can't trust what I've read on the internet because you never know if it's true or not. But it wasn't a 50% plus 1 percentage that was old white males. I mean, there was 20-something or 20-something % female, or again, I'm just spouting numbers that I think I saw. I'm not talking facts here. I'm just giving what I saw on the internet. But anyway, my point is that, you've had Oscars so white and all this stuff, and, we're getting to the point where it's becoming so, just because someone wasn't nominated, which always comes down to a matter of opinion. I liked Lady Bird. Did I think it was the best directed film of that year? Not me personally. I'm not a director. Unfortunately, I'm a white male, so to some people that automatically discounts that anyway. I'm not saying, white males get persecuted. No, I'm just saying, you when I say that, some people are going to take that because that I'm, gender blind or insensitive to something. But, one of the greatest things I've ever heard, and we're coming up on Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday, and his I Have a Dream speech, you judge people not by the color of their skin. You judge by the content of the character, not the color of their skin, or what's between their legs, if you want to go further with it. Content of character, what people are doing is how I look at people. And, when I look at the movies, like, oh, Lighthouse was phenomenal. I don't care if a fucking Peacock directed it.
Right.
Give that bird an Oscar. Give him a nomination. Again, you ask, most people don't know who these directors are unless there's, like, a lot of people probably know who Jordan Peele is now because, A, they watch Key and Peele. Get Out was phenomenal. I loved Us. Twilight Zone reboot was really good. He was doing all that. So he's become more popular. He's more in the public eye to where people know him. But most people don't even know directors. I promise you, just go ask some people like, again, most people probably tell you, if you ask random people who are casual movie people to name 3 directors, if they can, I guarantee you it's going to be Spielberg, probably Scorsese. I can't even think, maybe George Lucas, maybe, guessing. Or they'll say, oh, the guy that did the Star Wars, ask him to name a name.
Yeah.
Of course, ask him to name some actors. People can name hundreds of actors. But, ask him to name a cinematographer. Ask him to name one cinematographer, a casual moviegoer. Doesn't Spielberg do that? Of course, the cheat answer would be Robert Rodriguez because he does cinematography and directing.
Yeah.
But again, unless you kind of really, you're not so much a student of film, but I mean, if you watch movies, if you look at stuff, if you're looking at that, but never when of course, acting things. You obviously, Willem Dafoe's white. Obviously, I can tell that. Tropic Thunder. Oh, that's a dude playing a dude playing another dude. That's the part you can tell in terms of that if you want to talk about it. But when it comes to all the technical stuff, unless most people like, they're a lot of people are just waiting for the movie to start. They don't care about that. The names on the screen. They're like, oh, Brad Pitt. Oh, Tarantino. There you go. That'd be the third one most people will be able to name. If do me a favor, do that experiment. Let me know. Ask people to name 3 directors. See if they can name 3 of them, and let me know if there are any of them other than Spielberg, Scorsese, or Tarantino. Seriously. Now, of course, somebody says Clint Eastwood. That'd be kind of a cheat because he's a predominant. I'm talking people who don't act. Now, of course, if Spielberg appeared in the Blues Brothers, that doesn't count. He's not an actor. So don't give me that shit. But anyway, my point is that. First of all, awards are all bullshit anyway. Mm-hmm. Let's be honest, especially awards for film. It's all like paying what you can to get it. Let's not joke about that. I mean, everybody needs to understand that. Like you pay money and you get your Oscar.
That's crazy. They built the Lighthouse for this.
They couldn't find one that they wanted. They needed one that looked phallic enough.
That's awesome.
So you can't go visit it. They can't go visit the set.
Because they broke it down.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Probably buy a piece of it somewhere. Mm-hmm. But still, that's amazing.
But anyway, off my little soapbox on that. As it gets closer to the award show, we'll do our usual thing where we'll just kind of throw out some picks for fun because it doesn't matter. Because my favorite films of the year, none of them. Midsommar was not nominated for anything. Lighthouse only got cinematography, which if I had to pick one for it to get, as much as I love Dafoe, the cinematography is outstanding in the film. And I don't remember what else was. I think 1917 was nominated. I haven't seen that. I really want to see that because Sam Mendes, he's a good director. I don't care for his Bond films because they're too long. Speaking of Bond, we're going to be tackling that pretty soon on the podcast. If you like this watch it on Facebook or Instagram, I'll post it on there about that. But anyway. More about the Oscars later. We can't give out participation trophies. That's where it's getting to be just like, here's the main thing. My other point I want to make, that's all I see is like, why was there no female directors? There are fantastic female directors, don't get me wrong, but when people watching this saying like, this is fantastic. Who did this? Oh, no, that's a female. Can't nominate him.
Right.
I don't pretend to know everything, but that seems... I could be completely naive, and I accept that fact. I don't think that's the case. But anyway, but then this year, Scarlett Johansson was nominated. Was one of only 11 actors ever that have been nominated in the same year for actor and actress. Lead and supporting. Lead for The Marriage Story,
right,
and supporting for Jojo Rabbit. And she's where's all the hype? Hey. That's fantastic. A woman. That's a. I don't think she's the first one. Don't get me wrong, but that's a fantastic thing. Boone John. I can't remember. I just remember Boone, the director of Parasite and all that. South Korean gentleman nominated for Best Director and Best Film and Best Foreign Film. It's going to win Best Foreign Film. It's not going to win Best Picture because that's how usually that tends to work when a foreign film gets nominated for that. Bong Joon-ho. Yeah, Bong Joon-ho. Excuse me. Sorry, Mr. Ho. But I want to say he did Snowpiercer. That's what I want to say.
Yeah.
Fantastic director. You know, one of the first. I think he's the first South Korean nominated for Best Director. So you know,
did he do Snowpiercer?
I thought he did.
Yeah, he did. Okay.
Yeah, and Okja on Netflix.
Yeah. That's what I know him from.
Fantastic. I mean, he's a great director. A completely unique style. Fantastic. I have Parasite. Haven't watched it yet. Looking forward to it. Trying to work through all like this time of year. I always try to see all the Best Picture nominees, so I can be educated on what was nominated and also see some things that I didn't know about. So, and props to Frozen 2 not getting the Best Animated Feature nomination. Disney didn't pay enough, I guess. But so out of the Best Picture, I haven't seen The Irishman yet because I know it's so long and I know that I need to devote time to it. Haven't seen JoJo, haven't seen Little Women. I've only seen Hollywood, Once Upon a Time Hollywood, Joker, and Ford versus Ferrari, so I got a lot to see.
You got a lot to watch. Yeah.
I'm excited for all of them, except Marriage Story, and I'll tell you why. Only because I really don't feel like I want to watch a movie about a marriage disintegrating. Because I've seen the clip of, like, some clips of Driver and Johansson going at it, and it's just like, you know, from what the clips I've seen, they definitely deserve those acting nominations, just from the clips I've seen. But at the same time, it's just like, this looks so... Like, that looks like a real fight.
Right.
Like, you know, how people, like, you know, when you're in an argument with the people you love, you know, you say that hurtful thing because it felt so good to say it, and then you're immediately regret it, and it's just like, it's just like the entire tone changes with the person that's heard it now. You said it to them. You can't take it. Like, all that stuff that I hate going through. I was seeing in the clip I saw them, it's like, I don't know if I want to watch that. Because, like, that's like some heavy shit that, you know, I like movies like that sometimes, but, you know, I'd rather watch Jojo Rabbit given the choice. Marriage Story would probably be the last one I watch. That one or The Irishman. Just, again, time. But if I could watch one right now, 1917. I want to see that so bad.
I want to see that too.
But Ford vs. Ferrari, I really don't know why it's on that list.
Really?
It's good, but I mean, Best Picture.
Yeah, it's got like 8.3 or something on IMDb, but
I'm not a card carrier of the Academy. You know, good, yes, great. Yeah, I mean, I'll never watch it again. Great performance, solid movie, but you know, that was it. Had some good, you know, good. Just when I think of Best Picture, I think this is a film that'll be looked. Does it end up this way? No, because that's not how the world works. It's not every Best Picture is looked back upon as being the Best Picture of the year. But you know, I always like to see the nominees, so I was like, oh, let me check these out. These are some films I never would have even watched probably Marriage Story had I not seen that. Or that's nominated, or Little Women, but I want to see it. I heard it's a very different take on the story, and also, you know, people look. These are when you get movies that people are nominating stuff that they've seen, and that doesn't mean that everybody got a screener of Little Women to like. I might watch it and think it's the best directed film of the year. I don't know, I haven't seen it, and that's the thing. Here's another reason why some things don't get nominated as well, because people haven't seen them. Joker, over $1 billion. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, hundreds of million. 1917, I'm sure it's going to make a shit ton. Jojo Rabbit, you know, it probably, I don't know. I know that's the one I think would make a lot. Ford vs. Ferrari, I'm sure it would. The Irishman and Marriage Story are on Netflix, free to watch.
Yeah.
I'm saying that, like, this is, like, I didn't know that Little Women was even a movie, like a recent movie, until I saw it on a billboard in LA. At first I thought it was a TV series. Just, you know, I guess they're doing something with Little Women. And then recently, you know, because actually it just came out on the 25th, so it's like, you know, it is a movie. Yeah. And then I didn't even know Greta Gerwig was behind it until all this Oscars, you know, all this kind of like hubbub about it. Like, oh, I know she did it because she's pretty talented. You know, she's a very good up and coming director and I think she does a lot of writing too. I think that's where she started, was writing, or was it writing?
I thought she started as an actress.
It must have been. Oh yeah, definitely. Who am I thinking of? I think it's somebody else. But you know, she's very talented. I haven't seen it. I can't say if I think Little Women is one of the best directed films of the year. Of course, my personal taste lean more towards something like Joker in terms of directing, or 1917, where the scale, the scope, you know, the frame is used in certain, you know, there's visions there. Not saying that these other ones don't. Not saying that at all. I do think James Mangold, who did Ford vs. Ferrari, is overrated just because he did Logan. Just my opinion. You're
not wrong about that.
I don't think he's, you know, Not one of my. He's not one. I don't. Oh, dude, James Mangold film. Can't wait for that. Not me. Not. Hey, again, personally, walk the line. Johnny Cash, one of my favorite performers ever. But that movie just falls apart in the last 5 minutes. It's just like, wait, that's the end. Wait, it's over. Wait, what? Logan. So many great parts, and then it's just like.
Well, the Wolverine was what I was thinking of.
Oh no! Oh, no.
That's what he did.
Oh wait, he did that one before. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Logan, just the whole thing with the kids, I didn't like.
Oh, really?
Like the big group of kids.
Right.
And then the fact that it should have been Sabretooth and not young DH Hugh Jackman.
That's true.
That would have made it so much. I'm watching that film and I'm like, holy shit! It's like, oh, and then you're like, wait, what? I was like, why is it? What the fuck is happening here? Oh, he's weapon Y, whatever they call it.
Something they have to explain instead of something.
When it could have just been Saber, like, and then like it could have been
no explanation needed.
Yeah, we brought him back. Like, just one thing, like we knew he'd be able to stop you, or just something simple like that. You don't have to go this big explanation like that. Like movies today, everything is just they just think they have to over-explain everything. Mm-hmm. That's why I fucking loved Watchmen. They didn't sit here and take you by the hand and be like, "Oh, look, I haven't watched that. Look, remember this."
I need to watch that. Heard nothing but good things from everywhere.
The TV show?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said you watched it.
No, I haven't watched the HBO thing. No, I haven't watched it.
I could have swore when I mentioned that earlier, you said you watched it because I kind of spoiled it a little bit.
Oh, then I wasn't listening.
Oh, thank goodness. No, Watchmen is honestly, that's probably the best thing I've seen this year.
Nice.
Again, I use my wife as a barometer for a lot of things because she's if something's not interesting, she's just doing this the whole time. And then like, oh, that
typing on her phone.
Yeah.
For those not watching on YouTube.
Sorry, because you can't hear.
Or Twitch.
Can't hear that. Or actually, I did see something else too that surprised me that I liked it as much as I did. The Jay and Silent Bob reboot.
Okay.
So also, you've seen it.
Oh, really? Yeah. She was doing that?
Silent Bob.
Oh, yeah. That's true. You did do that.
I love Clerks. Mm-hmm. Love Mallrats. That's about it.
Oh, okay.
Red State. Red State was like when I didn't think Kevin Smith had it in him to make a movie that like, whoa. Red State was phenomenal.
He was trying something new there.
And I like Kevin Smith, but I don't care for Chasing Amy. Again, I like Clerks and Mallrats. Also, they hit they hit me at the age when those movies are supposed to kind of like come out and hit you when you're supposed to kind of watch them and relate to them. Clerks too, like you're trying to do too much of the same stuff. These fart jokes just don't work anymore. It's not funny. All these gay jokes are not funny this day and age. I'm kind of over this. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. I hate it because they were. They were not the funny parts. They were not the best parts of Clerks or Mallrats. They were that, and they were the C3PO and R2D2 that come in and like funny. Here's this funny little bit they're gonna do, but this is the story. Mm-hmm. They're those ancillary characters. I never liked them as main characters. They worked on that regard, because then Silent Bob would always have a thing. By the way, you should do this for love. He always give his little sage-like wisdom. Mm-hmm. Then everything else, he ended up talking too much. Autumn, on the other hand, she loves Dogma.
Yeah,
not my cup of tea. When I think Kevin Smith, I immediately think of Clerks and I think of Mallrats. That being said, one reason I'll always watch anything he does because Tusk is crazy, but I enjoyed it. The other Yoga Hosers, it was
out there.
It was cute, I guess is the way to put it. Like yeah, whatever. Looking forward to Moose Knuckle. They were Moose Jaws. That's it.
Moose Knuckle.
Sorry, that's what. Hey, me and you can talk about Moose Knuckles, but nobody else better. Nobody. Only men can talk about Moose Knuckles in this day and age. Just kidding. But anyway, and of course this was filmed in New Orleans.
Yeah.
So I was like, we'll see some stuff. Probably see some locations we've seen. Blah blah. Might even see some people who showed up. Mm-hmm. But again, I don't. The whole weed humor thing. It's not that funny anymore. I guess, again, I'm about to turn 40. Maybe that's the reason. You get a certain age, it's not funny. But anyway, basically, he pokes fun at himself the entire time. Doesn't surprise me from him. Like hardcore at himself. Like, what a douchebag. Because, spoiler alert, not that it matters, but Jay and Silent Bob exists in a world where Kevin Smith exists.
Yes.
So there's Kevin Smith in the movie, and there's just like, what a stupid idiot. He puts his kid in all his movies now. And she's the one that's saying it. So, I know. The movie's self-aware. fantastic. It knows what it's doing. Like he knows what he's doing. So at first I'm like, okay, I get it. I get
it's pretty much at the beginning of the movie they established that. Too.
I get your blowjob joke. Okay, that's here's another blowjob joke. Okay. Pick it up. But it basically builds up, and again, I have a daughter, so now everything that involves a father and their daughter makes me fucking emotional. But seriously, like by the end of the movie, basically Harley Quinn Smith is Jay's daughter from the girl from
Justice.
Yeah. And she's like, don't tell him that you're her father. And the whole time she's like, I just want to meet my father and all this stuff. And, whole time, you don't know what to believe, kind of, because, like, she's kind of a delinquent, just like he was. And he's like, typical, it starts off typical, like, well, your dad would be proud if, he were here to say that you're really kind of cool, that kind of stuff. But they do everybody from every Kevin Smith movie makes an appearance somewhere.
Yeah.
There's a hilarious part where the cast from Clerks appear.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay, good. Spoiler alert. He opens the door, it's a Clerks panel, everybody's in black and white.
Yeah.
It's like, I wish they would have more with them because that's one of my favorites, obviously.
But it's funny because some of them were running into the room.
Yeah, exactly. But then there's a great scene with Ben Affleck where he's talking about, as the Chasing Amy character, how he has his daughter, where the... what would you call, artificial insemination, all that. It basically tells the end of that story from that movie, what happened with them. And then where he says, like, it's all about reboots and remakes, the difference between a reboot and remake, how, like, your movie's over, dude. Like, it's about your, when you have a kid, it's about your kids,
Yeah.
You take, like, that speech he said, right? That single piece of film is the best thing that Kevin Smith ever wrote.
Wow.
When I'm watching, like... I'm just like, okay, this is like philosophic right here. Like that, what he's saying right here, that hit, like, that was,
you're like,
I'm just like.
It had good feels. I was surprised. I was going in expecting
by the end of it, I was like, this movie's good. I like this movie.
Yeah.
I didn't like the first 30 minutes.
I was expecting like off-the-wall comedy, like just goofiness. But
it hit its stride halfway in it.
This has some tear moments.
Oh, Chiff. I can't even think of the name I have to say. Chris Jericho as a white supremacist was hilarious.
Yeah.
When he pulls up, it's sort of like, holy shit, it's Chris Jericho. Which was great. But anyway, I was shocked. Well, I shouldn't have been too shocked because Tusk, at the end of Tusk, it had heart to it. Yeah. Where she goes and visits him, that absolutely horrifically sad song is playing. And he's sitting there and he's the walrus staring at her, and she throws the flowers down or whatever, and it's like, so, like, this is so stupid. But why is it so sad to me? But Jay's talking about reboot, like that if you have a kid, especially if you're a dad, because that's the main core of it, and it's a dad talking to another dad, like what his analogy of the reboot and remake and how like that equates to like what a child is, and like what your role ends up becoming. Mm-hmm. Right on the money, perfectly summed up. Honestly, I was like watching, like, God, this is dumb. But it hits its stride. So glad I watched it. I thought it was great. Again, slow but great. But yeah, I just when we were looking at some, I just was like, oh yeah, shit, I saw that too.
What's that?
I'm talking about the reboot. Okay. And then during the credits, the Stan Lee part was super fucking sad. Mm-hmm. He's like, "Oh, you're gonna be in my movie? Let's do a line." Like that little bit they threw in there. Yeah. He's like, because like, of course, I'll read the IMDb stuff after it.
Yeah, he was intended to be in there.
And unfortunately, the dude was 90. He's super old, so I wasn't like it was
he Kevin Smith tells a story about Stan Lee on his podcast, like. The week before he died, he was supposed to go over there and see him because he requested him to go over there. And he's always treated him like a son, and that's why he wanted to give Kevin Smith that nod in Captain Marvel, holding the Mallrats script.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which he did not see coming. But he was like, that was what Stanley wanted to do. Of all the people in the world.
What a stand-up guy Stanley was. Although now he's on his back. Oh, too soon. No. Absolutely. That's just some graveyard humor.
How dare you. Unsubscribe.
Makeup and hairstyling.
Yeah, we still got the Oscar nods up.
Oh, go to original score.
Rise of Skywalker is on there.
I need to listen. I want to see 1917, obviously, like I've said, but I don't want.
Yeah.
Because there was some great score. The Lighthouse score, phenomenal. Like I said, Midsommar was fantastic too. I'm a score junkie. If I see a movie in it and even one track in it is good, I'm gonna go get the soundtrack, find that one track, and listen to it on repeat. So it's gonna be interesting to see. Visual effects is going to be interesting because that's a loaded category this year.
Yeah.
Because you got...
It's hilarious that the Irishman's in it, but if you know about behind the scenes,
that's what I've heard.
Why. Because if you're watching it, you're like, okay, there's no laser guns.
Yeah.
There's nothing going on here. They're not in space.
But again, I think 1917 is going to be that one that kind of sweeps a lot of those. Again, haven't seen it, but absolutely excited to see it. But just the trailer, just it's one of those films that just the trailer of it is beautiful. Like
yeah,
the cinematography, what you see in the trailer is enough to be like, this is gorgeous. Mm-hmm. And if I remember correctly, I read somewhere like they did a lot of like natural light, like just like candles and stuff for that. And
the night scenes had to be lit by like flares and stuff, so they had to time out the flares flying over the city to be just right. And so what they did is they made a whole model of the set that they're going to use, and then put little lights on wires because they knew the trajectory that
good God,
that the flares had to be in to plan what the buildings would look like.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Because they wanted it to be real, they couldn't have just random lights around, so it had to be those flares flying over just to keep light constantly going.
Awesome. Speaking of lights, what I read about the lighthouse was because they shot in black and white. You can't film black and white like you can film color.
Right.
So what I heard about that set, because to have like certain dark areas show up for what they wanted, they said the lights on the set were like 10 times brighter than most movie lights. I was going to say,
yeah.
And they said like
you can get away with some stuff in black and white.
That Defoe and Pass was like a lot of their scenes where they're like, because there's a lot of like these scenes, like I'm staring at the camera,
right? That
they were blind for half the shoot because they couldn't, or like when they were doing some of their scenes together, the lights were so bright they couldn't even like see each other.
Wow.
Like from the just. Not so much, not squinting, but I mean, the brightness was so to get the shot. And it showed, I mean, always black, same thing with subtitles. Like, oh, I don't watch anything with subtitles. Oh, I don't watch anything black and white. Watch the fucking Lighthouse. Or tell you what, watch it while you listen to some music or something. If you don't want to watch, but I mean, it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. Hopefully it takes, again, haven't seen 1917. I'm pretty sure it's nominated for cinematography too. But as of right now, Lighthouse absolutely deserves it. And we've talked a shit ton about the Back to the Future segment of this podcast on this episode, which is good because we had a lot to catch up on. So now we're kind of all caught up, good to go. So next week we will continue the character showdown, still have a sealed envelope with the next matchups going from wherever we left off. So we'll pick that up. We'll knock that out.
Feature that I was watching on 1917. We're showing on the YouTube.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, they built a whole little city just to see how the thing would fly over. And this is available on YouTube. It's 1917 behind the scenes extended featurette.
Oh, wow.
That's the model. Well, then they built the full thing. But they had a model just to see how it would light up when they're going. It's pretty incredible.
I'm just so hyped to see that now. Like, and from what I heard is that it does. It's not one continuous shot, but they tried to make the movie feel like a continuous.
It does. Yeah, it's like five different. It's like 5 continuous shots. So, or feels like it. Of course, people who know behind the scenes, they did not film this in one shot.
It's called impossible,
right?
But every time I hear something about that, it's just like more and like Autumn.
I'm hyped to see it.
Can your mom babysit any night this week? We need a babysitter when you go to the movies.
Yeah. 8.7 on IMDb right now, so I definitely want to see this.
That's the one to beat, it seems like, for sure.
The same guy who made Blade Runner.
Sam Mendes. Oh, wait.
Like the cinematographer.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry, Lighthouse.
the newer Blade Runner.
Oh, still. I mean, love it or hate it, you cannot say the film isn't pretty. Like, you know, I mean,
I think it won the Oscar, didn't it?
I'm sure it was nominated. I don't know if it won. Those are so hard to like remember because it's usually never the one that you think does, like, as a viewer, at least from my experience.
Won 2 Oscars, cinematography. Yep, Roger Deakins.
Yeah.
Actually, obviously, Mendes uses him a lot, or at least before, because he used him in Skyfall. So
yeah, No Country for Old Men, Fargo. He's done some things.
True Grit,
Prisoners.
That was fantastic.
Yeah. So yeah, this guy's done things.
Some good stuff and some bad stuff. The Village. Sure. Oh, Lady Killers. Personal Tom Hanks favorite of mine.
Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou?
Cohen's like him too. Big Lebowski.
Big Lebowski, yeah.
Shawshank.
The guy's been around.
Yeah. This might be the new Dean Cundy.
Yeah.
This is the 90s Dean Cundy.
Wow.
Because, like in the 80s, I'm looking for something. kind of big, not too much. Really kind of hit his stride in the 90s in terms of
I would say in the 90s.
Like big, like movies that everybody will know.
Shawshank, I think, did it for him.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, Barton Fink, but most of this stuff is like, not well known.
Yeah, so he's the new Dean Cundy, or he's the 90s Dean Cundy is what we'll call him. Modern day, actually, I guess, because he's still out there. Dean Cundy is too, but not nowhere near as much work as this guy's getting.
Sure.
And he just won an Oscar 2 years ago, so good for him. Well deserved.
Yep.
I wonder because he obviously from his picture. Oh, he's super old, 1949. Wow. So see, when you have somebody that's done that many iconic pictures, I'm so shocked that there's he's not a director.
So many nominees. Only one recently.
Good God. Oh, wow. Okay, go to 95. Who beat Shawshank for cinematography?
Cinematography would be, let's see, effects, film editing.
That was the year of Forrest Gump. It might have been Forrest Gump.
So if you're playing at home, see if you could say it before we find it.
I think it was just one up there, I thought. Oh, wow.
Legends of the Fall beat Forrest Gump, Shawshank, Three Colors Red, and Wyatt Earp for cinematography.
Nah, Shawshank. Legends of the Fall is gorgeous. I think it's that case of usually when I think of cinematography, Lawrence of Arabia, big sweeping vistas, photographed, beautiful, that kind of thing. Whereas, by far, Shawshank should have won that.
Yeah. People still talk about that shot from the cover and stuff like that. It's
It's
crawl
everything about it.
Shit. Yeah.
I can't imagine how that smelled. But Andy Dufresne crawled through 2 football fields.
Yeah.
Of shit to get to freedom. Everything. Good. I can't believe he only won that one. Wow.
He's been nominated.
Jesus.
Almost 15 times.
He's a Susan Lucci of cinematography until he won
14 times. Pretty close. For Academy Awards.
Well, that's who you go to. Yeah. And if I was making a movie get me Deakins.
Yeah. But he's only been nominated, never won. It's like what?
But
except for now.
But nominated for Shawshank, Fargo, right. No Country. Was it on there? True
Twice
Grit,
in 1 year. 2008.
Oh wow! And still he doubled his chance. Go to that one. Go to that.
Who beat him in both things?
Who's the one that has that over Deakins?
There will be blood. Tough.
I can see that, to be honest.
Yeah.
That film's exceptionally beautiful.
That was a tough year because of those two.
Absolutely.
Their Country for Old Men versus There Will Be
I don't
Blood.
even consider Assassination. I mean, granted, I never finished it because it's long as fuck, but didn't thrill me. But No Country, that one's iconic.
Oof. How about that?
Yeah. I'm not going to argue that one. Deacon's probably like, yeah, he did a good job. But good God. That's a legend of cinematography right there. For sure. Ooh. That was some stiff competition last year.
So in 2018, he won for Blade Runner 2049 against Dunkirk, Shape of Water, Darkest Hour, and Mudbound. So I'd never seen Dunkirk yet.
Really? Mm-hmm. Are you serious? Well, Quentin Tarantino says it's like the second best film of the decade, bro. You gotta see it.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
It slipped by me. I gotta watch that before I see 1917, even though it's different wars, but still.
It's fantastic. Of course, Nolan comes out. Oh, it's good. It's so good. But right. It's based on a true story. So it's not Nolan, but it's also like the most Christopher Nolan movie he's ever made. Christopher Nolan like his kind of like motif in most of his films is there's some time aspect. Mm-hmm. There's something to do with time.
Sure.
And the way Dunkirk plays with time, absolutely ingenious.
Yeah.
And speaking of scores, one of the best scores out there. Absolutely, just the score of the film.
I'll watch it soon.
I'm sure you can. It's got to be streaming somewhere these days.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's absolutely, don't miss it. Like you said, it'd be a good film to kind of like pump you up for
a war movie.
Yeah, because it's really good. So anyway,
yeah,
it's going on 1 a.m. here. I got to work in the morning. Jesse don't give a shit.
Nope.
But
we got a nice long episode to make up for all this time off.
Yeah, well, I mean, holidays, vacation. You got to have a vacation.
Yeah.
I needed one. Should be back next week. I do have family coming in. We're doing some changes at the store, so hopefully she'll be able to get another episode next week. Always aiming for it. But of course, if not, don't worry. There will be one coming if it's not next week, but I do my best. But anyway, we'll be there. Of course, 80svisit@gmail.com. 80s_. It's been way too long.
80s_ revisited on Instagram.
80s Revisited Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And YouTube and all that, or Twitch.
Everything 80s Revisited.
Except Instagram.
That's us. T-shirts available on Redbubble.
I like your vintage 80s tee from the 80s.
Yeah, that's right.
Faded and everything.
Yeah.
So we'll be back, and again, we're going to finish the character battle, and then we'll move on to Bond. Jim Bond.
There we go.
Isn't that his name?
That's right. You got the whole James Bond series.
Like Bond. Jim Bond!
Jim Bond.
I guess that, well, I don't know. I was trying to Louisianize it.
Right.
But I can't think of that on the fly because I'm not that smart when it comes to Louisianian comparisons to James Bond.
Yeah.
I guess Jim Bro. Bro. Jim Bro, yeah.
Jim Brown.
Or, something like that. Very simple, because it's not nothing cool like that. So, but until next time, a couple things.
Right.
Ben, you mentioned on your podcast, the Bamcast, that you thought that we did Frogtown. We ain't done that one.
Frogtown.
With Roddy Piper.
Okay.
Something to Frog. I can't think of the damn name of it. It's one of those cult classic. Just search Frogtown, will come up. Hell Comes to Frogtown. We actually haven't done it, my friend.
Yep, I do
but
not
since you
recall
said
that
every
one.
80s podcast that did it, gonna have to work it in down there really soon for you.
Yep.
And then also a good friend of the podcast, Roger Russell, he lost his dad recently this week. Just wanted to personally say from all of us, both of us here I should say, I talked to you on Facebook, but condolences and everything. If there's anything we can do over here, just let us know. So sorry to hear that. And then also our good friend Sean, he gave us zoo tickets. Did you get to use yours?
Almost did.
Same here.
We were gearing up to go, and then some family stuff came up on the day. Like we were going to go on the 29th or something like that.
Yeah, we were going to go the weekend before we went on vacation, Sean. And then same thing. Mom came in. Autumn's mom was supposed to come in, with, and then it was just one. It's like
we still appreciate it completely.
Absolutely, that doesn't take away anything that the kindness from you. So greatly appreciated. We'll still get down there eventually.
Yeah.
Although my desire to go to New Orleans has dropped a lot simply because Drago's is opening in Baton Rouge next month, baby.
Yeah.
You used to have to go to New Orleans to get those charbroiled oysters, but now I just got to go right down the street.
Yep.
So but when we obviously, we do go to New Orleans every now and then. But anytime we go, I will hit you up on Facebook, try to get a hold of you. Maybe we can meet up. And nevertheless, still, even though we didn't get to use them again, greatly appreciate the thought. Still got the card in the official 80s Visited podcast note envelope. So thanks again for that. But again, if you weren't the guy, they didn't call me like I asked them to, it's because we didn't make it out there. We're not assholes. Not to you, at least.
Yeah.
So, but a couple of shout outs right there. So don't, all that stuff. And then we'll be back hopefully next week. That's right. Until then, I'm going to go home and go to sleep as Trey Harris.
Jesse Sedgley.
Cowabunga!